Presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Southwest.
Historically, interleague play has been good to the Rangers. This season has been no exception. An impressive 13-5 record, including a series opening win Monday against the Braves. With a rainout last night, today we'll play two, giving Elvis and crew an opportunity to double their pleasure in the ATL. This is Rangers baseball presented by AT&T, and a much more pleasant day today in Atlanta after a torrential rainstorm last night washed us out. It is a day-night doubleheader today in the Deep South. The Rangers and the Braves wrapping up a three-game series. And welcome in, everybody. I'm Dave Raymond. CJ Nikowski will be alongside here very shortly. This is a big day for the Rangers. Now playing two games today against Atlanta and hoping to make up some games in the win column in the wild card standings. You look at where things stand right now. Hey, in the loss column, the Rangers only one game back of that final wild card spot. Baltimore's been surging, winning 7 of their last 10. But the Twins, by the way, have lost 3 in a row. It is becoming a very hot race here in the final 4 weeks. Well, CJ Nikowski now joining us. One of the ways the Rangers have made up so much ground is by dominating interleague play.
Yeah, certainly for them. They're happy to be playing some more interleague games here in September. This has been a real strong suit for the Texas Rangers, and especially on the road. That's where it sticks out. You think, okay, well, no DH. That would be a disadvantage for the Rangers. That has not been the case. 6-2 in the National League parks this season. They are hoping by the end of today that will be 8-2 here in Atlanta. But the Rangers really have answered the bell this season when it comes to interleague play.
All right, so a chance for a very productive day for this Rangers team. They could get back to 3 games over 500 for just the second time this year. Now, one of the ways it's going to happen is we have starting pitchers going for both teams, and it's the first time either of them have come out in this uniform.
Yeah, it certainly is. And for Miguel Gonzalez, he will be making his Texas Rangers debut. And, of course, the Rangers looking for some rotation depth. And they get Miguel Gonzalez right when he's throwing the ball extremely well. That's what he's done over his last 5 starts. In 2 of those starts, he went 8 innings. So certainly going deep in the game would be something that Jeff Bannister would like to see. He's also only allowed 1 home run over those 5 starts. So Miguel Gonzalez has been throwing the ball extremely well. On the other side of things, it'll be Luis Gohara making his big league debut, just a 21-year-old lefty, their 8th overall prospect. He's got a big arm. At fastball sits 95 to 97 miles an hour with a very good slider and occasional change. So the Rangers obviously have never seen this guy, so they'll be in for a little bit of a surprise.
Just the 5th Brazilian to make it to the big leagues. Well, Delano DeShields has been excellent for this team, and when he's in the starting lineup, they're very good. We put Delano in the spotlight with Emily Jones when we return.
What a difference a day makes. A absolutely gorgeous day for baseball here at SunTrust Park in Atlanta. So gorgeous, in fact, that we're going to play 2 today. And we've talked all season about the fact that Elvis Andrus has had a career season. He's not the only one. Delino DeShields, who is in our Shiner Light Blonde spotlight, also having a career year for these Texas Rangers. Career highs in average on-base percentage, and those 28 steals are also best in his career. And he is the straw that stirs the drink with this offense. When he is in that leadoff spot, the Rangers offense changes in dynamic for a good way. 45 and 34 in his 79 starts this season. You look at the numbers since his debut in 2015, and those numbers are pretty good too. Delino DeShields making a case for himself to be in this lineup every day and making that decision very hard on Jeff Bannister not to put him in there, guys.
Indeed. Let's take a look at the Southwest starting lineup for the Rangers. Actually, let's not. Let's wait until we get into this one. We'll start with Delino DeShields, though, leading it off because he has been very good in that spot. Delino at a .285 average, 4 home runs, and we're underway.
For Gohara, first pitch of his big league career is a 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
And a strike nonetheless for him. So Gohara, realization of a dream, and he misses high this time. The count 1-1 to DeShields. Mentioned earlier, just the 5th Brazilian native ever to participate at the major league level. And a bouncer by the mound towards shortstop. That one playable for Dansby Swanson, 1 away.
Let's take a look at the numbers for Luis Gohara, and this is what he had done in the minor leagues. 3 different levels for him, A-ball, AA, and AAA. Very good overall. 147 strikeouts in just 123 innings. So he was dominating with the swings and misses. Everything was really good. The home run rate, the opponent's batting average. So across the board, he has had a very nice year and found himself in the big leagues, maybe a little bit quicker than some were expecting at just 21 years old.
Retires the first man he sees and now gets Shin-Soo Choo and pumps one right in there for strike 1.
Did you hear that? 66 degrees game time temperature. Yeah. How about that? It's been a while since we've seen that number.
This one lifted in the air left side, but out of play. Yeah, it was, in fact, it was rainy this morning and felt a lot like it did last night when we were coming out to the ballpark. Sun only started to peek through maybe an hour ago. And that 66 degrees, I would gather, will go up a little bit over the course of the afternoon, but still just a terrifically pleasant day here. 0-2, and Choo takes very high. Choo not one likely to chase out of the zone, and that was clearly the idea there by Freitas. They put the glove up high. Now they want it down low, and this time he does chase that one, and it's strike 3. First strikeout in the career of Luis Gohara. All right, now it's time for those Southwest starting lineups. DeShields and Choo up top. They combined very well up there, setting the table for Andrus. Carlos Gomez in the cleanup spot today. And then Joey Gallo batting 5th. Napoli, Odor, Brett Nicholas gets in the lineup today because of the doubleheader. And Miguel Gonzalez will bat 9th. Now 2 away, and here comes Andrus. Those numbers for Elvis, including the last 11 road games where he has been so hot. Gohara, for the first time, misses with the first pitch. Andrus in Monday night's game had a home run. Not just the high average this year for Elvis, but career numbers in just about every category. 19 home runs, 77 RBIs, getting on base at a .341 clip. Gohara's 2-0. Good heater, strike 1.
And good carry on it too. And we talk about velocity a lot, and you see the numbers and lighting up the radar gun. Certainly tells one story, but it doesn't tell the entire story. And you can see how that fastball's got a little bit of giddy up at the end and how it's getting on these hitters.
Well, everything away right now to Elvis, and he's Elvis, that is, has worked himself ahead here now, 3-1. Gohara, 6'3", 210 pounds. And it's 3-1. Fly ball out to center field. That one carrying pretty well. Inciarte is back, and it's gone! Andrus has homered again, his 20th of the year. So the Rangers start the scoring in the first on Elvis Andrus' home run.
Well, this is absolutely unbelievable as far as what we're watching Elvis Andrus do. First of all, seeing a pitcher that he has never seen before in Gohara, and so there's supposed to be that little bit of a learning curve. This is a fastball that ended up being elevated. He was trying to go down and away. Instead, it was up and away, but it's still 97 miles an hour up and away, and a fastball that he now only seen a couple of times within one at bat. And he drills this ball to center field. You remember he had 10 home runs through June, right? First 3 months of the season. Elvis Andrus had 10. We're kind of joking around like, oh, could he be a 20-20 guy? And he kind of downplayed that whole deal. Well, he just became a 20-20 guy, 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases with still a couple of weeks to go left in this season. So he is better than repeated what he did over those first 3 months, which we thought was kind of a surprise then.
Well, it has been some kind of year for Andrus, and so the Rangers start the scoring today, and Carlos Gomez wanted to join him out there in that nice little rocky tree area out in center field, where Andrus deposited that home run. Two-strike pitch, and that one fouled down. Maybe it wasn't fouled at all. Swung on and missed for strike 3. So the inning is done. A home run by Elvis Andrus, though, and the Rangers lead early. Well, the Andrus home run. Rangers have the 1-0 lead, and now the Atlanta Braves go to work. Let's take a look at their starting lineup. 60 wins, 76 losses. Ender Inciarte, Ozzie Albies, and Freddie Freeman up at the top. Matt Kemp gets in the lineup today in left field. Nick Markakis, Dansby Swanson joining him in the middle. Rio Ruiz, David Freitas doing the catching, and Luis Gohara in his big league debut, pitching in bats 9th. The first pitch from Gonzalez, and Inciarte sends it foul down the left side and well out of play. It is foul ball day here today at the ballpark. Anyone with a ticket will get a foul ball.
I mean, think about how you feel if you don't get a foul ball today. You have some of the worst luck in the world. What do you got for the over-under of actual bodies in the? What do you think is going to be here? I mean, some people I'm sure will still file in, but
this is tricky, right?
Yeah, it is tricky. Well, first of all, we can't see all the seats.
We can see most of them.
We can see most of them, but the ones that, as far as that are underneath, right? We can't see the ones that are underneath the binoculars, we might be able to a little bit from our perch. And some Ranger fans are here. We certainly do appreciate that. I'm excited. I'm going to go 1,700.
So here's the problem, right? 2-strike pitch, and this one lifted out into short left field. And the Shields is there, 1 away. Problem is, they're going to announce an attendance today, and it will include the season ticket base, right? Because they count those as having come through, I believe.
Tickets sold. Well, they're tickets sold.
Tickets sold, right. But in the ballpark, and who knows if we'll get that number, I'll say we'll get over 2,000.
Okay. It is tough to tell the way it's scattered, too. That's part of it. See, we can't see all those people right there that are underneath right now from our vantage point.
Okay, so at 18. Here's a pitch. And Albies takes high for a ball. It's tough today. Look, I mean, we were rained out late last night. I mean, what time did we finally get the news and get out of here? I can't even remember.
It was pretty late, after 10 o'clock.
Okay. And then you got, no one's expecting this game today until that time.
Oh, yeah, this is not any kind of indictment on the Braves or the organization or the team. It's just one of those things that it's the middle of the week. School has started here already a while ago. So a day game during the week would be a tough draw anyway. And then you go ahead and you schedule that last minute. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty small crowd.
So the split doubleheader means it will have the night game as originally scheduled. And that will get to, your normal expected attendance. But this one, it's going to take, well, let's face it, all these people are pretty alert. Bouncing ball, second base, and Odor is there, 2 away.
Let's take a look at the Ford pitch arsenal here for Miguel Gonzalez, making his Texas Rangers debut. Fastball sits at 91 miles an hour, and he throws it nearly half of the time. You see the slider, the curveball, and the split finger as well. The curveball has been especially good for Miguel Gonzalez this year. A 171 batting average against that pitch, and he's allowed just 1 home run on the curveball this year.
So he gets his first 2, and now deals with Freddie Freeman. Just off the plate. One and one.
And let's take a look at the Rangers defense, which is delivered to you by Chicken Express. Delano DeShields, Carlos Gomez, and Shin-Soo Choo in that outfield. Joey Gallo at third base, Elvis Andrews, Odor, Mike Napoli out at first, and Brett Nicholas is catching. That's the only change that we saw from last night's lineup. Originally, it was going to be Robinson Chirinos going to catch Gonzalez. And of course, with the doubleheader, you figured Nicholas was going to catch one of them, and Jeff Bannister decided that Brett Nicholas would catch here with Miguel Gonzalez.
Well, Banny said today, yesterday Chirinos was in that lineup, and he said all things being equal, Chirinos would have been in the lineup again in tonight's game had there not been the forced doubleheader. So it's an opportunity for Nicholas to get in there and get some swings today and a chance to work with a brand new pitcher in Miguel Gonzalez. It gives this lineup a slightly different look, a little more left-handedness as well.
Yeah, and I think, at first thought you'd say, well, why would Brett Nicholas start against the lefty Gohara? But very interesting splits that he had at the minor league level. Lefties hit 305 against him, and righties hit just 198. So that's kind of intriguing. That's where you kind of count on your scouts a little bit. And you try to figure out why was that? Was it just because there were minor league hitters? Were they getting lucky? Is there something that translates at the big league level? Looked like he has a pretty good slider, but maybe that fastball for lefties, for some reason, maybe they get a better look at it. Who knows? But so Brett Nicholas will get that opportunity against the rookie left-hander.
Three balls and 2 strikes on Freddie Freeman. Freeman with 24 home runs this year, 60 driven in. And Gonzalez just misses that outside corner, so Freeman draws the walk.
Certainly something Freddie Freeman has been very good at over the course of his career. Very good on-base guy, as he has been, but also showing the power. He can do it to all fields. Very, very good hitter. Of course, dealt with that wrist injury earlier this year. They moved him over to third base, and then That really wasn't working out, so he's back at first. And we did say that wrist is still bothering him a little bit and that he's not at full strength, but obviously you don't need a strong wrist to take that walk. 13% walk rate for Freddie Freeman, highest on the club.
So he is on for Matt Kemp. And you see Kemp's numbers this year, but has hit the Rangers well over the years to the tune of a .361 average. He has a start in left. We saw Adams in left field, Matt Adams that is in left field on Monday night. Kemp gets the start today. We'll see what they do in the nightcap. Adams hit a home run Monday night for Atlanta, a night in which they did not have a whole lot to show for themselves offensively. 1-1 pitch, and this one lifted out to left field. DeShields goes back. Will he have room? He leaps it. That one's gone, and it's a 2-run homer for Kemp, his 17th of the year, and Atlanta has the lead 2-1.
We were talking about in the open how well Miguel Gonzalez was throwing with the Chicago White Sox coming into this game here. His last 5 have been very, very good, but only 1 home run allowed. Well, here he goes with a fastball where it was exactly where he wanted it. You didn't see Brett Nicholas move his glove at all, and so that's a product of Matt Kemp doing a nice job of hitting a pretty tough pitch down and in at 93 with some good movement. Looks like 2-seam fastball, so a little credit there to Matt Kemp for hitting a pretty tough pitch.
So the infield back with the bases empty now, and Nick Markakis takes ball 1. Markakis with a .284 average, only the 8 home runs. You see lately he has been swinging a hot bat as well to the tune of a .350 average. Better than 2 weeks now. 1-1 the count. Talked a lot about Markakis Monday night, and what a very good career it has already been for Markakis. Veteran player, done a good job for them in right field. Now with better than 2,000 hits in his major league career already. There are only 12 such players in baseball at the moment. Markakis 32 years old. And that'll even the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Probably 33 years old. You see 165 home runs to go with it. Long-time Oriole. He has another year left on his deal here in Atlanta. He watches ball 3, so it's a full count.
Yeah, and that makes it interesting, right, as far as what his future will be here with the Braves, potentially. I don't know if they're necessarily going to be a contender just yet next year. So they have Matt Kemp, who's under contract for a couple of more years. Nick Markakis, as you mentioned, for next year. Or if they'll still want to have those guys here because they would both have some value. Markakis probably more in the trade market.
Well, and he takes ball 4, so another walk. Second of the inning. And so Miguel Gonzalez feeling around a little bit right now for his command in this first inning. Here comes Dansby Swanson.
You see the overall numbers for Swanson this year, but that doesn't really tell the entire story. He really struggled there in the beginning, or even leading up until late July through July. They ultimately sent him down just for a little bit, and he has bounced back very nicely. Hit the ball very well in AAA. And that has continued now here back in the big leagues.
Ooh, that went just foul.
Let's take a look at it right here. You see Dansby Swanson, since coming back from the minor leagues, that was on August 9th when he got recalled, and what he has done since, very impressive. Batting average, on base percentage, puts him in the top 10 in the National League. And you know, this was a big name. You know, a guy that was high round draft pick, #1 overall, and then of course traded from the Arizona Diamondbacks. You know, a lot of attention paid to these guys, and Started to struggle there a little bit as a high-profile guy. And we've seen high-profile names get sent down a lot over the last couple of years. The Cardinals have not been afraid to do it. Stephen Piscotty was a guy who went down for a little while. Colton Wong, Randall Grichuk, they're an organization that is not afraid to do it. Well, he took it well, performed, and now he's back in the big leagues doing the same thing.
1-1 the count.
Jock Peterson just got back from the minor. I mean, there's name guys that end up getting sent down, I think, now more than ever. Now they become name guys now more than ever because of how much attention and how much coverage we have within the game.
Puig earlier this year. We saw Odor a couple years ago. Up and in. 2-1 the count.
I remember when I was just covering the game nationally and asking Jeff Bannister about that demotion of Rougned Odor. I found it so fascinating at the time. And he said, for Odor that year, the year before he did really well. And that was their first look at Rougned Odor. And he had that edge to him that he still has now. But he said that year he actually had lost his edge a little bit. He felt like he was almost trying to conform to what he thought people wanted him to be. And because of that, he felt like his performance had suffered a little bit.
Soft liner over third, and that one goes foul. 2-2.
Rugi went down, got his groove back, and hasn't looked back since.
Two balls, two strikes here in the bottom of the first inning. The Braves with a 2-run homer by Matt Kemp. Top of the inning, it was Elvis Andrus with a solo home run. Sunny Wednesday afternoon, but temperatures in the mid-60s when we got started. First game of a doubleheader, back again tonight for a 7:35 first pitch. Well, 6:35 Central Time. Bouncer at third base, and they'll go the short way to second. They force out Markakis, and the inning is done. But a 2-run homer by Matt Kemp has given the Braves their first lead of the day. Both teams with home runs in the first inning, and out of the second inning, we'll see if maybe our starters settle down just a little bit. Joey Gallo, Mike Napoli, and Rougned Odor due up for the Rangers.
We'll take a look at the Braves defense and saw them a little bit in the first inning. Matt Kemp, Enciarte, Nick Markakis in the outfield. Ruiz, Swanson, Albies, and Freeman. Good defensive infield that they have here. Gohara, of course, being caught. A little switch for them as well. Freitas. Actually, I take that back. He was set to start last night, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
This is the same exact lineup they had for last night. So no changes for the Braves compared to what they were hoping to put out there last night before we got rained out.
1-0 pitch to Joey Gallo, and he'll pop this one up. Right side of the infield. Freeman wants it. One away. And so that'll bring up Mike Napoli. Freitas, he's also young man from the minor leagues in this Brave system, and he caught Gohara at AAA. Now, he only caught him once. I think Gohara made, like, I don't know, what was it, 7 starts at AAA, and Freitas only caught one of them, even though they were both down there at the same time. But at least he has some familiarity with him.
That's always part of the process. A lot of times when a rookie comes up, especially if he wasn't in spring training, right? If you haven't thrown together in spring training, always an adjustment for the big league catchers. Well, the minor league catcher came up as well, and so at least there's a little bit of familiarity with these two.
Slow to Napoli, 1-1 the count.
I got to tell you though, you know, you have this day-night doubleheader, right? And you wonder about, okay, well, what would you want to do? We were talking about it before the game. Say, what starters would you, would you switch up your starters a little bit? I got to tell you, I kind of like the idea of giving a rookie an opportunity to pitch in this kind of atmosphere first time out. Pretty quiet. I mean, he's pitching bigger, in front of bigger crowds. Probably his last start in AAA, there was a bigger crowd. At least, so as far as any maybe added pressure that would come from, the atmosphere that would maybe have that adrenaline crank up a little bit, that's really non-existent in a game like this one. So you wonder about, which guy you would want to pitch which game.
So we've got a foul ball up here to our level, and the fans can't get here.
Upper deck is closed.
Yeah, I'm going to go get that a little later.
I think you better hurry up because somebody else is leaving our booth.
2-2.
It's a $20 baseball.
Full count to Napoli, who is 2 for his last 32. Now, Monday night, he did walk a couple of times and scored a run. And he's been doing that a little more lately. 8 walks in his last 5 games. Holds up, and that is ball 4. And so Napoli is on with 1 out here in the second inning.
So for Gohara, he's pretty much done most of what you can do at the big league level as far as filling up some columns in his baseball reference page. He's got a strikeouts, got a home run, now the walk. RBI run, it's pretty much all happened here, and I'm just waiting on that single, double, triple.
Well, may he not have to wait long. Here is Rougned Odor. Roogie was 2 for 3 Monday night. You see the overall numbers for him. 28 home runs now on the year. Gohara from the stretch, and that one up and in. This was Monday night.
Yeah, this was fun to watch, and certainly it was fun for Odor. You see the reaction. He knew right away that he got all of it. Little skip and a jog, and hit that ball almost to the Silver Bullet Club. Another good year with the power for Rougned Odor.
He takes a strike here now, 1-1. Yeah, closing in on his 30 home runs, nearing 70 RBIs. Got a big power year for this Rangers team. Ooh, that's a little snap throw over there on Napoli. Tucked that one away.
Yep. He showed it early, and so now, even though the Rangers had some scouting reports from the minor league level, there are certain things you need to see in person, and so now you have a little bit of a feel for what might be in the back pocket in regard to pickoff moves. Now, if you used it on the wrong guy,
yeah, exactly.
necessarily Mike Napoli 1 for 3 in stolen base attempts this year. He's a good base runner. We've talked about it a lot, but not necessarily a stolen base threat.
Ball and 2 strikes on Odor. And he chases strike 3. So 3rd strikeout so far today for Gohara.
Yeah, and this one was on the slider. Now, the slider doesn't have a lot of depth to it. It's got a little bit more of that horizontal break side to side. Watch it here. It stayed up in the zone, but you see how that thing goes much more sideways than it goes down. And what you really would like to see is a guy who can do both of those things. We really get to the point where you can manipulate your slider to have both depth and some good side-to-side movement and make it have a couple of different looks. That would make it even more difficult. But you got 97 as a lefty and that slider to go with it. That's a pretty good combination against left-handed hitters.
Now Brett Nicholas, speaking of left-handed hitters, The fourth lefty in the lineup today for the Rangers. Brett has only played once in the last 10 games. That was a start against the Astros on the final day of August. And hits this one up the middle. Gohan knocks it right down. He'll have some time. Throws out Nicholas, and it completes the inning. No runs, no hits, and a man left. We've played 1.5. Braves lead 2-1.
Last night here at SunTrust Park, as the rains came down, ultimately postponing this game to this afternoon. And really it affects this Rangers team in 3 ways. It took a start away from Robinson Chirinos because Jeff Bannister didn't want him catching both of these games. Also, it does stretch your bullpen because if certain guys pitch, depending on how long they pitch in game 1, they will not be available for game 2, whereas they would have been available from last night to tonight. Also, the third thing it does is it provides the need for a new Sunday starter. Before, with the off day, it was going to be a 4-man rotation for a time, but now it will either be likely Nick Martinez or A.J. Griffin, but both of those guys available out of the pen today, so that will be a decision that will be made later on down the road, guys.
That's a lot of great points there, actually, Emily. I forgot about the part about having the day off with the starter, trying to figure all that out, so how that is going to be affected. You know, doubleheaders, not ideal, really. I mean, that's why we don't see them scheduled anymore. Back in the day, you'd see doubleheaders scheduled all the time, but it can be kind of tough on the schedule, and especially on the bullpens. Now, it is September, so that helps a little bit, but the Rangers are chasing a second wild card, or any wild card for that matter. The bullpen is extremely important, so Jeff Bannister keeping his fingers crossed that he'll get some depth out of his starters in both of these games.
Well, Gonzalez facing the bottom third of the order here in the second inning, and a breaking ball is fouled away. It's 1-2 on Rio Ruiz. Ruiz with 3 homers, 13 RBIs. See a lot of different names for the Atlanta Braves these days, getting a lot of young kids sometimes. Guys like Ruiz, 23 years old. Bouncer, right side of the infield. Napoli waits for it, and now we'll take it to the bag, 1 away. All right, our Kubota power stats this afternoon. Miguel Gonzalez, pretty good at getting that first pitch in there for strike 1.
Now, you hear about it all the time. The idea, of course, throwing strike 1, getting ahead. Miguel Gonzalez has been excellent in that regard with his 67% first pitch strikes, and get an idea where he is just on how he ranks in the American League. That is 5th best, so not surprising from a veteran. Knows the way around the mound.
One in there for a strike, so that's 5 of the first 8 batters. He has managed to jump ahead 0-1. Freitas, a 263 hitter at the AAA level. That's just his third big league game. And it's 1-1. Miguel Gonzalez, 33 years old. This is his 23rd start of the year, but his first with the Rangers. Acquired on August 31st in the trade with Chicago. White Sox taking Taquan Forbes, a minor league infielder from the Rangers. Gonzalez went 7-10 with a 4.31 ERA with Chicago. But he was leading that White Sox staff in innings pitched. And was tied for the team lead in wins at the time. It was a tough year on the south side in Chicago. This one served over to the right side, stays 1-2 on the rookie catcher.
Yeah, it was, but it's also kind of interesting to see for Miguel Gonzalez, and obviously there's a lot of changes there in Chicago, everything that was going on. He was getting the highest run support of his career. He played for Baltimore, right? Obviously, it's always been a good offensive team over there, but he's getting 5.4 runs per start for him. That's the best that he has seen over his 6 MLB seasons, and probably pretty excited to come over here, and assuming that that will likely continue with the great offense here with the Rangers. There you see overall what he has done. So even though he had that good run support, 7-10 record, defense at times maybe a little bit shaky, of course, there with Chicago, but put together a very respectable season. But the timing of this, I think, was just perfect for the Rangers, and that's what you got to do sometimes, is dig in a little bit deeper. You don't just look at the overall number, but how's the guy pitching right now? Miguel Gonzalez was pitching very well when the Rangers acquired him.
I think it's a swing and a miss by Freitas. His first strikeout of the afternoon, 2 away.
And does a nice job here working the rookie a little bit, does Miguel Gonzalez. You see this pitch away. That slider at 87 miles an hour. It's a hard slider for a guy that sits around 91 miles an hour, 92. It almost has more of a cutter look, definitely more of a cutter speed to it, as opposed to a slider that maybe would be 6, 7, 8 miles an hour off the fastball.
Well, Luis Gohara swings and fouls off the first pitch he sees in the big leagues.
Come on, hacking, big fella.
Might be the best pitch he sees, right? One strike pitch from Gonzalez, and a swing and a miss.
Lift and separate. Might not try to go big fly in your first at bat. That front foot in the bucket a little bit, as we say.
He missed that pitch by a pretty big margin. 0-2, and he missed that one as well. Another strikeout. Back-to-back Ks for Miguel Gonzalez in a perfect second inning, and we head to the third. Braves with the 1-run lead, and we want to remind you that you can help people affected by Hurricane Harvey by visiting redcross.org or by texting the word Harvey to 90999. By doing that, you make a $10 donation, and that donation, of course, enables the Red Cross to prepare for, respond to, and help people recovering from this disaster. A lot of Rangers fans here today on a sunny Wednesday afternoon in Atlanta. And we get ready to go in this third inning. Miguel Gonzalez going to lead things off for the Rangers. You can see hitless so far this year. In fact, 0 for 16 in his big league career.
6 strikeouts, so we put the ball in play 10 times. No walks. So maybe much like go hard, not going to wait around, look for something early. But I don't know, when a guy's throwing 97 with a pretty good slider, I might take a couple of pitches. We will see how Miguel Gonzalez handles his 7th at-bat of the year.
So let me ask you this. Do you have a particular memory that stands out for you as a pitcher who had to occasionally hit?
Yeah, I mean, you always remember the first time you have to step in the box. You remember your first big league hit. Those are always good moments, cool ones. I got mine in Cincinnati, 95, using Deion Sanders' bat, and I broke it.
Ooh, how'd that go?
He was cool about it. He said, he gave it to me. He said, listen, man, you need to swing this bat because you look so slow right now. You're not catching up to anything. He's like, these are really light. They have a little bit of a bigger barrel to them, but they're light. Maybe you'll have a chance of getting it around, which I didn't because I broke it. I hit the ball off my hands. But luckily it was on a turf field, old riverfront.
Oh, you were able to use your speed.
And then the ball just squirted right into the outfield. Got an RBI too, buddy. Brett Boone scored. So yes, you do remember those things. But if you're asking me if I've ever done anything impressive with a bat in my hand, the answer to that is no.
Let me amend that. The 1-2 pitch. That one just a little bit low, so Gonzalez being very patient. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. But let me just say, to stand in a batter's box in a big league game and hold a bat is impressive enough.
It's fun.
And then to get a hit, I don't care how it happened. Come on. All right, a full count now. So Gonzalez using your game plan here, which is to do nothing. And it's working out. Three-two. He draws the walk. All right, don't tell us how this one ends. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's check in with John Radigan. Yeah, thanks, John. Look, the Brewers, man, they're making their move. As you point out, this is not going to work real well for them. With a little bunt by DeShields, and Gohara throws to first to get him. It's a sacrifice, moving Miguel Gonzalez to second base.
It's got to be fun for Miguel Gonzalez. I have to assume that he's never been on the base pass before. We know that he doesn't have any hits. Now, I don't know if there was any fielder's choices in there. He doesn't have any runs scored. Kind of loosely make the assumption that he's never been on base before. He did a pretty good job there on the sacrifice bunt.
So Gonzalez out there in scoring position. Kind of fun to see one get down in an alley here and watch him run in. Chu stands in, and he takes strike one. More on that big walk by Gonzalez. Let's check in with Emily.
Yeah, I can only imagine what the celebration will be like if he actually does touch home plate, because the resounding roar from the dugout when he worked that walk was pretty big, and definitely the loudest cheer of the day so far here at SunTrust Park, guys.
Probably some sarcasm in there as well, but absolutely.
A slight amount.
And I'm not taking issue with your word choice, Emily, but when he, quote unquote, worked the walk.
He did work it at full count. He worked it to a full count and took a tough pitch.
Yeah,
I mean, think about that 1-2 pitch. That was pretty close.
Listen, I'm just trying to give the guy a little bit of love, just like his teammates.
Yeah. That was awesome. Listen, it'll be even bigger still if Chu can get him home. Count stays 0-2. Now, your first hit, CJ, was that your first time on the bases?
In the big leagues, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
I didn't hit in high school or college.
Yeah, that's
So that
the
was a
other
big
thing to
deal.
me that's kind of amazing.
It's a big deal for. I hit my freshman year in high school, but that was it.
Off the plate, 1-2 the count to Chu, who struck out in the first.
So he's never reached on an error. We'll find out. I wonder if he's ever been on base.
O'Hara working his way to the set position. And this one lifted high in the air out toward left center field. Ranging underneath it, Inciarte, and he'll make the catch, tagging at second and heading to third. Gonzalez.
Come on!
Wow, just got in there. That was close.
It was really close, and I would like to have seen a little bit more of an enthusiastic call because that was kind of a big deal. Miguel Gonzalez does a nice job of avoiding the tag. You should see Inciarte here making the throw. But watch this. The head first slide, that was beautiful. They always worry a little bit, but see how he even goes around? Had he gone straight to the bag, he is probably out. So Miguel Gonzalez, again, first time on the bases in his career, looks extremely comfortable.
Where's Emily now? Emily, what's the reaction on the bench after that one?
Everyone now is on, waiting with bated breath on the top of the dugout, top step of the dugout, waiting to see if he's going to make it all the way home.
That was dicey right there.
A little bit.
A little dicey at the third. Here's Elvis Andrus, though, now with a man at third base.
Well, you know what Tony Beasley, of course, has to tell him in that spot, too, is they don't automatically go right on the wild pitch because the ball, of course, we've seen it bounces really hard off the back of the wall behind home plate. As far as thinking about trying to advance on anything in the dirt.
Two out now. The pitch to Andrus, and he'll yank it foul. Let me ask you this. Doesn't matter now. He's at third base. But would he have been real familiar with the base running signs and whatnot?
Well, they went over with him today for sure.
Okay.
They sat down, or actually yesterday, they go through it all and let him know what the signs are. Absolutely. Those are things you have to know.
In the dirt, 2-1.
Well, I think I hold a pretty unique distinction is in the minor leagues, it used to be you only had your manager would coach third or whatever, and actually a pitcher would be the first base coach at the lower levels. When I first broke in, I got pulled out of the game of coaching first because they thought they weren't sure if I knew the signs and it was late in the game. I was like, come on, man. Really? My manager pulled me out. Substitute first base coach for a guy who maybe is paying attention. The guy comes up like, what are you doing? He was like, Skip said go in the dugout. He's not sure if you know the signs. I was like, I do know the signs, man. I probably did.
Well enough. Gohara's 3-1. Ooh, gets a high strike call on Andrus. Full count. Andrus had a home run in the first inning.
You know, for Brian Snitker, too, kind of watching this at bat, paying close attention. First time now for Gohara where he is facing, obviously, someone that has taken him deep in the big leagues. What's the approach? Is he working the corners? Does he look a little tentative, or is he going to remain aggressive?
Bouncer up the middle, base hit. And so Gonzalez's walk blossoms into a run. It's a 2-2 game.
Well, Miguel Gonzalez is just acting like it's business as usual as he just scores the first run in his career. Now he knows, of course, his job is to pitch today, but he's playing it cool. But he'll hear it from his teammates a little bit as you see some ear-to-ear smiles, especially here in the American League. Whenever a pitcher does something in interleague play with the bat, the guys absolutely love it. There's the smile. Finally crack one.
Yeah. Well, you got to conserve a little energy too, right? So he's in on the Andrus base hit, second RBI today.
Yeah, nice job here, 3-2 fastball. That was in pretty much the same spot in which he hit the home run. The home run, of course, went to center field to Elvis Andrus' swing, telling you everything you need to know, trying to keep the ball in the middle of the field. Right, we talk about this all the time. He tries to pull that thing. It's probably a ground ball, one of those position players, but he hit it hard up the middle instead.
And so now he's aboard for Carlos Gomez, who struck out in the first inning. A 2-2 game. Andrews can run. 23 stolen bases this year, most among Major League shortstops. He's been caught 8 times. One and one the count. Oh, fun third inning with Gonzalez drawing that walk and coming around to score eventually to tie the game. I noticed Cashner was one of the guys right there on the top step to give him a high five as he came in the dugout. Cashner probably feeling pretty big these days after his sac fly Monday night. First ever in the history of the franchise, at least by a pitcher.
I feel like if I had all that hair, I'd be doing the same thing. Kind of playing with it all the time, right?
Get rid of it. 1-2 pitch. Fouled off. Drive me crazy. So Gomez, he has that thunder in the bat. We have seen it often this summer. 17 home runs for Carlos. And look what he has done against right-handed pitching. The last 7 games. Today facing the lefty O'Hara, and he swings and misses. So 2 strikeouts today for Gomez. Rangers leave a man, but they get the run back, and it's a 2-2 game.
High-speed replay. Let's take a look back at that beautiful inning for Mr. Miguel Gonzalez. There you see he works the walk, slides into third base, works his way around the bases, and ultimately home on the Elvis Andrus single. Was met in the dugout with tons of high fives and a couple of encouraging comments from Doug Brocail and Andrew Cashner. A little way to slide out there, and good job getting dirty.
The slide was really probably the most impressive part of the inning. He did a lot of things well. It took some tough pitches, too.
Well, the first pitch he delivers on the bottom of the inning is deposited out in right field. A home run for Ender Inciarte, his 11th of the year. And just like that, the Braves retake the lead.
Second home run now of the afternoon here for the Atlanta Braves. And Inciarte jumping all over this pitch from Miguel Gonzalez. We'll take a look here. Looked like a curveball at 75 miles an hour. I mentioned it before the game that had been probably his best secondary offering of the season. It was just the second home run that Miguel Gonzalez has allowed on a curveball this year.
Now Ozzie Albies, and he swings and lifts one high in the air. Out to deep right center. Chu can't get to it. He'll get it on the carom. Albies has good speed. He's headed for third, and he's in there easily. That's a triple for Albies. I want to start to this third inning for Atlanta.
Fifth time he has done that this year as well for a guy that only has 130 plate appearances, or 132 now on the season. We'll take a look at it, and he drove this ball pretty well. And Chu, of course, first time out here in right field and trying to navigate that wall, and so this turns into a really tough play as he reaches, tries to get to it. Then as it comes down, just a little bit of hesitation. Watch this guy take off and just absolutely turn the afterburners on. That was really good speed from Albies.
So he's just 90 feet away now with nobody out. And Freddie Freeman, who walked in the first inning, steps into the left side of the plate. 3-2 Atlanta. He hits this ball sharply, and that one threw into right field. So Freeman is on with the RBI single. He also makes it 4-2 Atlanta.
Freeman got a good look at Miguel Gonzalez first time around when he drew a walk, and now here he gets a two-seam fastball that stayed a little bit too much in the middle of the plate for Miguel Gonzalez. There's that really good Freddie Freeman short stroke to the ball as he pulls this thing in the hole. And an easy base hit and RBI for Freddie Freeman.
Well, Cincinnati homered on the first pitch. Albies then tripled on the first pitch he saw, and then Freeman that base hit on the first pitch he saw, and there's a swing and a miss by Kemp. So we were talking earlier about how Miguel Gonzalez gets ahead of guys. Right? He throws that first pitch in there for a strike. Maybe Atlanta, maybe that's part of the adjustment they're making. It's like, all right, you know, expect that good pitch and be up there hacking.
Well, no doubt they talk about it in the scouting meeting. That is something that comes up. Say this guy's going to come at you early, and then what they'll also do in that process is break down how he does it. And what pitches he uses first pitch, which ones is he throwing in the zone. If they like the numbers for the fastball, whether it be a 2 or a 4, then you're going to see teams getting there early and being aggressive. It's a smart play for guys that throw strikes.
Freeman at first. The 0-2 from Gonzalez way off the plate.
Miguel Gonzalez has mixed it up. Of the 13 hitters that he has faced, 8 have been fastballs, but it's also been 1 curveball, 3 sliders, and 1 split finger.
Not his A move on Freddie Freeman, but just trying to keep him near the bag. Well, there's a number you pay close attention to. Matt Kemp, 23 double play grounders this year. And Gonzalez could really use one right now. Check swings and stays alive.
Good pitch there. Now Miguel Gonzalez is not a huge ground ball pitcher. 38% ground ball rate for him this year. League average is 44%, but he has induced 10 ground ball double plays, and so it's a matter of finding that one pitch. You know, listen, 1-2 count, you're actually thinking strikeout right now. You absolutely go for the swing and miss, but if it gets beyond that, whether it be the 2-seam fastball in, potentially that split finger, finding the pitch that you can get the ground ball here potentially against Matt Kemp.
This one popped up. Might be playable for Napoli. Has some room, and he makes the play. 1 away. Well, MLB.com at bat is your #1 mobile app for live Rangers baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. Get Rangers home screen icons and app features, as well as game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcast, StatCast news, and a whole lot more. Download MLB.com at bat today. Number of signs there from Jeff Bannister. Freeman stays at first. One out. Here is Nick Markakis. Markakis had the walk in the first inning. This is second time through the order for Atlanta. As they're getting their first look at Miguel Gonzalez. In fact, Gonzalez had never pitched against the Braves. Sixth big league season for Gonzalez. His first ever start as a Ranger. Signed with the White Sox as a free agent in April of 2015 after he'd been released by the Orioles. He made his debut with Baltimore as a 28-year-old, I guess 2012, and put up great numbers with Baltimore.
He was interested in going back. He was a free agent that year, if I'm not mistaken. But they did not want to extend. They did not want to go to the fourth year. The Braves did, and talked about this in the opener on Monday. Get very few opportunities as a Major League Baseball player as far as free agency and having that opportunity to really cash in, and it's difficult to leave money and years on the table, and Nick Markakis was not willing to do that.
Ground ball, shortstop, diving stop by Andrews. They'll go to second and get the force out there. What a play by Elvis Andrews to get the lead man. There are two away.
We were talking about Elvis in the open and really where he ranked among shortstops, and it's plays like these that sometimes we forget about with Elvis Andrews because there's been so much focus on what he has done with the bat this year and the home runs. But watch the range here. First of all, go full extension backhand, but the accurate throw with not a lot of time from one knee, and a good job by Ruben Odor as well, playing first baseman there with the long stretch. Nice job by both of those guys to get the second out of this inning.
So now Dansby Swanson, and he takes one just a little bit wide. Well, Gonzalez, I'm talking about his good run with Baltimore. I mean, a couple of playoff appearances. In fact, he made 2 starts in the playoffs for the Orioles over the years. He had a 1.42 postseason ERA with them. I mean, he was not just good for them in his regular seasons with Baltimore, but very good for them in the postseason. Big part of their rotation in those playoff seasons. The White Sox liked him, and frankly, he pitched well for Chicago. A real nice pickup for the Rangers. We saw him, well, I guess it was just about 3 weeks ago in Arlington, and he pitched very well for the White Sox. I don't know that it was that start per se that put him on the radar, but that certainly was a nice clincher for the Rangers to say, yeah, you know what, I think we do have good interest in this guy.
It definitely helps. I think without a doubt. You know, sometimes some guys maybe fly under the radar. You talk about putting him on the radar, but you know, you look at Miguel Gonzalez's overall year, and it'd be pretty easy to maybe overlook him as a piece that could help you. When you see him firsthand, you have your scouts follow up and watch him again. The Rangers saw a really nice run out of a veteran who knows how to pitch. I absolutely believe that, seeing him firsthand. So he's like, wait, you know, I haven't heard a lot about this guy. This might be a piece that could help us potentially if we need it later in the season.
Takes the ball every 5 days. Very competitive right-handed pitcher. His numbers this year pretty good overall. He deals low. It's a full count now to Swanson. Rio Ruiz waiting for an opportunity that may or may not come here in the third inning. Third full count of the afternoon for Miguel Gonzalez. Markakis, you figure not to be a huge threat to go over at first. I mean, not to steal a base. He'll be running on a full count pitch with 2 out. But not much of a lead, obviously.
Now you guys did it in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Full count, 2 outs.
You do run?
He's running. He is absolutely running.
Not a big base steal. There's a 3-2 and another foul ball. So Swanson making him work a little bit in this third inning. 2 runs in the first, 2 runs here in the third. So Atlanta with the lead. This is the opening game of a day-night doubleheader. Rangers won the opener Monday night. So one of the kind of cleaner, better played games they've had lately. 3-2. And a little roller, slowly hit to third. Gallo's strong arm in time to get Swanson. So the inning is done. A 4-2 game, but Gallo will lead things off. When we come back for the 4th inning, Mike Napoli will follow, and then Rougned Odor. The 4th inning, and CJ, if I've told you once, I've told you a million times. Texas Rangers Suite Rental is the perfect way to entertain your clients, family, and friends. All regular season nightly suite rental packages include parking and a food and beverage package. Just go to texasrangers.com/suites or call 972-RANGERS for more details on how to reserve a suite.
The problem I run into is I only have one of those 3 things. I don't have clients. I don't have any friends. I've got my family.
Your family. You can still make use.
That's right.
Well, Joey Gallo will lead things off in this 4th inning. Gallo, Napoli, and Rougned Odor. It's a 4-2 game. Both starters have had some moments early on. Both starters have run into a little bit of trouble here and again. And Gallo, his second look at Gohara, takes one high for a ball.
And we don't have a lot of data as far as the Rangers hitters facing left-handed fastballs at 96 miles an hour and harder, because of course they just don't see it very often, as you see the slider there. But Joey Gallo is 3 for 8 in those spots. .375 batting average against fastballs that are up. Actually up over 96. Certainly a good sign. There's the most hits, those 3 of any Ranger. No home runs, though, for this entire lineup against fastballs from lefties at 96 and higher. I mean, Andrew Miller, I'm trying to think how many times you actually see it, who you would see it from. Chris Sale. Chapman, of course. Not too many.
Well, 2 and 2.
James Paxton can get it up there a little bit on the left side from the Seattle Mariners.
You say 96 and higher?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Breaking ball off the plate. It's a full count. The Rangers got 1 home run earlier. Elvis Andrus with the solo shot in the 1st inning, and then Andrus with an RBI single in the 3rd. He's driven in both Rangers runs. Payoff pitch, and it is down low. That is ball 4. So Gallo with a walk to start the 4th inning. You look at the numbers for Gohara in the minor leagues. Big strikeout numbers, not a ton of walks. And you think, well, that could be pretty good for him. There are moments where his command, at least according to scouting reports and the like, where his command would evade him just a little bit. And I do think that that's maybe one of the biggest differences for these guys when they come up to the big leagues, is realizing some of those nasty pitches that get you swinging strikes in the minor leagues, big leaguers can tend to lay off those pitches.
Yeah, two things. You're right. Yes, they definitely will lay off them, and that's a little bit of a surprise when you sit there and you get yourself in a 2-strike count and you throw a pitch that you're used to seeing minor league guys swing and miss at. That's a little bit new. There's an adjustment there. And then the other part of that is when you throw your really good pitch and they do offer at it and they foul it off. It's one of those things that really stuck out to me at times where when you first get there, oh, there it is. There's the good one. I just threw it, and then no, Wade Boggs just fouled the seat. You're like, dang it! And you got to try to do it again and again. And Tony Gwynn fouls it off, and you're like, oh yeah, this is going to be a lot harder than pitching in the minor leagues. Now we'll say probably a little bit better for these guys because we have more and more hitters that are taking bigger swings. Right? We're getting away from that older style of contact hitting, and more guys are taking big hacks regardless of count.
Man at first here in the 4th inning, and Gohara, there's that quick move again. Gallo not fooled. Joey can run a little bit. 7 steals this year and 8 tries. Inside to Napoli, it's 3-0, so a walk to Gallo. And now 3-0 on a dangerous hitter in Mike Napoli. Now here's my question. I've seen him walk a few guys lately. 1 in each of the last 3 innings. Do you have the green light here if you're Napoli?
No, not against this guy. I wouldn't. Listen, Mike Napoli can have the green light whenever he wants. But I think against this pitcher, I might hold off a little bit. Unless he sees a fastball exactly where he wants it.
3-1.
So this was interesting. 2 pitches ago. Watch Gohara here. And as he's coming and throwing, watch him look at Joey Gallo as he's already throwing the pitch, and then look where this thing ends up. At that point, your leg's in the air, and I get it. But Joey Gallo has only stolen 7 bases right now, and probably not overthinking the runner too much and trying to come back and execute pitches. Now his last 2 he has executed. But the thing about trying to be a 21-year-old kid, have already lifted your leg, looking at home, then look at the runner as you're in the middle of your delivery, then look back at the catcher again. Not surprised that he missed the spot as much as he did.
Another full count, 5th of the day for Gohara, and he runs it inside. That's ball 4. He did it again.
He did the same exact thing again.
It's the no-look pitch.
I mean, Joey Gallo is either going to go or he's not going to go at that point. I get it. I get the idea of maybe wanting to hold on the runners a little bit tight. We see how the ball's cutting, so that's back-to-back times now, or 2 of the last 4 pitches where when he has done that look over mid-motion, he ends up yanking the fastball.
Well, he's going to get a visit from his manager. Oh, check that. No, it is not Snitker. So
that's a Hernandez, the pitching coach, coming out to talk to him right now, Chuck Hernandez, and probably just trying to calm down his rookie a little bit. You wonder what he has seen. I mean, obviously we have a pretty good view here when we watch him do that as far as the looks. So I wonder if they're, they saw the throwovers. To see him looking over there. At this point, 1st and 2nd, it probably doesn't matter. Just making sure, of course, you want to make sure your young rookie is really focusing on the glove, going after the hitters, not overthinking the runners too much.
So a couple of walks to start this 4th inning. Braves continue to give him runs. And every time he has allowed the Rangers to score, his offense has come right back to get the necessary runs to cover those up. But he's also turned around and offered the Rangers opportunities immediately thereafter. And this is the buildings of potentially a very big inning here. Odor, 0 for 1, struck out in the 2nd. And swings at this one, pops it up. Perhaps playable. Freeman over, and he has room. 1 away.
Tough break there for Rugi. We just saw the back-to-back walks, and I get it. Of course, you're looking for something early to be aggressive and try to drive runs in. That's what Rougned Odor does. It's always going to be a little bit frustrating, though, after the back-to-back walks and then to see a first pitch out.
So now Brett Nicholas. O'Hara out of the stretch, checking both runners. And he just doesn't look to be anywhere near as good out of the stretch.
I think it's a good point. So an opportunity for the Rangers to put some pressure on Gohara here, even for Joey Gallo. He's probably not going anywhere, taking a big lead, trying to get in this young rookie's head a little bit.
1-1 to Nicholas.
That's pretty filthy right there. That's 97 on the corner, left on left. Brett Nicholas going, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting my next start. Skip. Oh, well, here's 97 with a nasty slider from a left-handed pitcher.
Gallo and Napoli out there. And that one in the dirt. 2-1.
Take a look here in the bullpen. Is Austin Bibbins-Dirks is up right now in the Ranger bullpen. Now, probably that has to do with the fact that Miguel Gonzalez is on deck. So Jeff Bannister may want to have the option just to get Austin throwing a little bit if he decides that he wants to pinch hit.
A roller foul evens the count at 2-2. Well, you have the deep rosters. You have extra guys in the bullpen and several long guys. So even if one of your long guys goes out and has a little hiccup, you have additional long guys you can bring on.
Long guy on top of long guy on top of long guy. Certainly the opportunity now. Miguel Gonzalez is out on deck right now. The right-handed options would be Will Middlebrooks. AJ Jimenez is out there. Phil Gosling and Robinson Chirino, so the right-handed hitters. But I'm sure Miguel Gonzalez is saying, hey, Jeff Bannister, did you see my last at bat?
Hello,
pretty
scored
impressive.
50% of the runs.
Pretty impressive walk for Miguel Gonzalez back in the third.
Two balls and two strikes. Gohara throwing a lot of pitches in this fourth inning, and a little number up into the bat foul. Nicholas stays alive.
He's done a nice job fighting off some pretty tough pitches here from the lefty, especially that one off the end of the bat. 2-strike count, protect against 97 away, but you always got to worry about this slider as well. What an easy thing to do. So Brett Nicholas so far fighting to stay in this at bat against Gohara.
Two-run game, but the inning setting up well for the Rangers. Especially if Nicholas can come through here. And this one line, that was a base hit. Past third and into that left field corner. Gallo is in. Napoli will stop at third, and he'll have to hustle back. On the double by Brett Nicholas, it's a 4-3 game.
That is a tremendous at-bat by Brett Nicholas. You see it there, number 3, as far as the doubles go this year. This was not an easy at-bat against the tough lefty who was making some really good pitches, and that was another one right there. It didn't get all the way to the corner, but still a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, and he takes the right approach, not trying to do too much, hit it the other way, and he hits it right down the line. I'm surprised after what we saw previously that they would have Haris still playing off the line. The approach from Brett Nicholas, and so a good at-bat. We are going to see that pinch hitter now.
What? So Will Middlebrooks hitting here for Gonzalez. Gonzalez's day is done. 1-run game, but second and third, 1 out. And there's a high strike to Middlebrooks. Jeff Bannister in the opening game of a doubleheader is going to remove his pitcher after 3 innings and leave it to the bullpen from here. And that one lined out toward left field, and it drops in, base hit, and that's going to be a whole lot more. Kemp dove for it and went past him. Napoli's in, Nicholas is in, heading to third. Middlebrooks. He comes around third, but they'll hold him. A 2-run triple for Will Middlebrooks. And the Rangers back in front again, 5-4.
Well, Will Middlebrooks, another nice approach here, but also making Jeff Bannister look like a genius. This ball was smoked to Matt Kemp, and he really got caught in between on what to do. And luckily for the Rangers, he made the wrong choice. That's a good pitch down. Middlebrooks goes down and he gets it, but smokes this ball into left field. And you're going to watch Matt Kemp think about the forward dive, but he had no chance of getting to it. Will Middlebrooks is off to the races as 2 runs easily score on that triple.
Wow, what a big play. Will Middlebrooks picking up a couple of RBIs. Now the infield is in as we turn the lineup over against Gohara. DeShields with his 3rd at bat of the day. First pitch right in there for a strike. 3 runs in this 4th inning.
You know, it's not always going to go down that way, of course, using those pinch hitters. You pick your spots, and whenever a guy comes through, obviously that's not an easy decision for Jeff Bannister to lift Miguel Gonzalez after 3 innings of work, but when the hitter comes in and really picks you up.
Well, this one gets away, and Middlebrooks is in, scampering in from 3rd, and makes it a 2-run lead for the Rangers.
I say, it makes it just a little bit easier to swallow and to watch Will Middlebrooks come across the plate after that triple. This has turned into a 4-run inning for the Rangers. Watch this pitch. We had talked about him yanking that fastball earlier, pulling it across his body, missing inside to righties, away to lefties, and there's another example of it right there. And it's a difficult thing to do as a catcher when it's that kind of velocity and you're missing spots.
It's a big wild pitch, and now 1-2 the count on DeShields. And so activity for the Braves. Luke Jackson has picked up a baseball. Wow. Gohara's big league debut. And he makes it 2-2. And his big league debut may not last real long. Well over 20 pitches for the inning. In fact, this will be his 25th. And he strikes out DeShields, 2 away.
See some changeups in this at bat to Delano DeShields. Haven't seen very many of them from Gohara. It is his 3rd pitch. Usually about the fastball and the slider for him.
That brings up Shin-Soo Choo. Choo has struck out and flied out today. Swings and misses at strike 1. I mentioned a little earlier that Gohara, just the 5th Brazilian native to ever play in the big leagues. The first ever was Yan Gomes back in 2012, not that long ago. Brazil is a relatively new frontier for baseball talent. Of course, the largest country in South America, over 200 million people from Brazil. Very athletic country, soccer crazed country.
It's good to see guys getting to the big leagues, though, right? I mean, it's important for the growth of that country with baseball to see first handful of guys, 5 now, that have reached a big league level. Certainly serve as an inspiration to other aspiring baseball players in Brazil. It's important.
Well, probably the biggest challenge they have in Brazil in terms of mining baseball talent down there. It needs to become a popular sport down in Brazil. As a swing and a miss by Choo, and he strikes out swinging. The inning is over, but the Rangers pick up 4 big runs, and they're back in front.
before. Now Austin Bibbins-Dirks taking the mound for the Rangers, and we've all seen how the Texas coast has been ravaged by Hurricane Harvey. Still, of course, feeling the effects from that, and just less than 2 weeks later, now we have Hurricane Irma, who is formed in the Pacific Ocean, wreaking havoc there, and so many of these Texas Rangers and Major League Baseball players are affected by Hurricane Irma, particularly those in Puerto Rico, where they feel like that will be the brunt of the storm. And A.J. Jimenez, who was recently called up to the big club, and of course Alex Claudio and Hector Ortiz, all natives of Puerto Rico, spoke with them today. All of them said, look, our bodies are here, but our hearts are in Puerto Rico. Their immediate families all here, but all of them with parents and extended families back in Puerto Rico, speaking with them as much as they possibly can throughout the day, and anticipating for the worst to come this evening. So definitely our thoughts with their families, and of course with those guys as they continue to play through.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. That whole part of the world right now, this Irma looks like another massive destructive storm coming. As Austin Bibbins-Dirks has come on.
I think you see that forward pitch arsenal for ABD. The fastball sitting around 90, slider, curveball, and changeup. And not only does he have the 4 pitches, but he'll change his arm angle on a lot of those pitches. So it was always said about guys like David Cone that would do that. You take the arsenal, if it's 2 different arm angles, and double it, because those are 2 different looking pitches. So you see 4, but it's really more like 8 with Austin Bibbins-Dirks.
Fly ball center field. And that is out number 1. Ruiz retired. And now it'll be David Freitas.
Good job by Austin to come in and get that first out. So important. Talk about that often with relief pitchers, especially in this spot right after the Rangers put up 4 runs in the top of the 4th inning. And so get that first one, and a 0 here would be very much appreciated by Doug Brocail and Jeff Bannister.
Freitas takes a ball off the outside corner. Well, Bibbins-Dirks has pitched some of the biggest games this year for the Rangers. Certainly some of the more memorable ones as a bouncer by third into left field, and Freitas is aboard.
We'll take a look at this ground ball that gets in the hole, and here's the pitch from Austin Bibbins-Dirks. Fastball right down the middle. He was up a little bit, but he's behind the count 1-0. You certainly want him throwing strikes, so a ground ball, and now we're going to see a pinch hitter here, so O'Hara's day is over.
Micah Johnson, the hitter. Hitless in just a handful of tries this season. But a man on and a 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th inning. So both starters done after, well, fewer than 4 innings. O'Hara went 4. And Gonzalez went 3. There's a high strike to Micah Johnson. Bullpens will be tested, and not just in this game, but in this doubleheader. Check his swing. They want an appeal. He did. Johnson, this is his 3rd go-around with the Braves. Was recalled on the 4th. A couple of days ago. He's also up at the end of July for a few days, and a 1-day call up in August.
Those are fun.
Yeah.
Or if that was either a doubleheader, maybe 26 man potentially.
Could be. Go to my.
It wouldn't be so bad in 1 day. Never mind. You're out of here.
Yeah, that didn't work. We thought actually it was not a doubleheader.
Really? Bad batting practice.
2-1 pitch, and it's popped up left side. Andrews heading out, and the shortstop tucks it away. 2 out.
So a little bit more of an advantage here, obviously, because we are in September with these expanded rosters. When you start talking about Miguel Gonzalez and Gohara out of this game early, and there certainly are the long men down there. But Jeff Bannister's playing to win right now. Not that the Braves are not. Every one of these games the rest of the way is important, so you may see a little bit more aggressive moves taken, I think, with the bullpen. The way that the pitching staff is handled, some shorter leashes for sure.
2 away here, and the first pitch to Inciarte, fouled away. First strike one. Inciarte, top of the order, leadoff man, homered his last time up in the 3rd. Good numbers this year for the Braves center fielder. Base average right up around 350. Shoots this one up the middle. That's a base hit. So Inciarte with the second hit of the inning for Atlanta. They have a couple of base runners for Ozzie Albies.
Watch Austin Bibbins Dirks here. He actually thought he had a chance to catch us. I mean, it's all reaction. You're like a goalie at that point. But then he looked at his glove. You know, he sees it go by. He sees it in the outfield. He looks in his glove. Anyway, maybe I didn't see what I thought I saw, but it ended up being a base hit. It's just, again, all about reaction in that spot. You never would expect him to make that catch, but he thought maybe he had a chance at it.
Gotta believe.
I love it. Looked at the glove, looked at the ball, looked at it, watched it go into center field.
How did that
Looked
happen?
back at his glove. Just any chance I was in there?
Albies, he tripled last time up and nubbed this one right out in front of the plate. Nicholas with a bare hand and throw over to first, and the inning is done. So the Braves lead 2. Well, he homered earlier this afternoon and drove in the first 2 runs of the game. Elvis Andrus leads things off in the 5th. As we go to the 5th inning in today's Cold Hard Facts, brought to you by Clean, Crisp Coors Light. 216 home runs thanks to Anderson's home run back in the 1st inning. Now that is most in Major League Baseball, tied with the Orioles. Last time the Rangers led the majors in home runs was 05. That's when they hit the team record 260, which that certainly is at risk this summer as well. Well, if they're going to hit more today, it's going to come against another new pitcher. Matt Whistler is on for Atlanta.
And we saw Whistler on Monday. See, now here will be his 16th game of the season for the Atlanta Braves. And Whistler, a guy who's got a fastball that sits right around 93 miles an hour. Throws the slider, curveball, and changeup as well. You know, Dore hit this home run off Whistler, is that right? From Monday? Sound familiar?
That sounds vaguely familiar. Yeah, it was off Whistler.
I like to guess over and then make you look up the facts.
Oh,
Is that a good system?
It works for me.
Definitely works for me.
Here's the first pitch to Andrews, and it's right in there for strike one. So Gohara done after 4 innings. I mentioned earlier, Miguel Gonzalez done after 3 innings. We'll see a lot of bullpen the rest of the way this afternoon. Now there is another game today. It'll be a local time 7:35 start. Back home 6:35 for the first pitch. Our pregame coverage will begin at 6 o'clock on Fox Sports Southwest.
It's really turned into a beautiful day here too in Atlanta. It was pretty miserable yesterday with all the rain into the night. It was raining again this morning. Pretty dreary and dark, but it's sunny now, and it's been a great day to take off work. Catch a ball game, maybe go grab a bite to eat and catch another one.
2-strike pitch, and that one pounded in the dirt toward third base. Playable for Ruiz. 1 away here in the 5th inning. Well, speaking of game 2, will be later on tonight. Cole Hamels and Julio Teheran. Now, they were the scheduled pitchers for Wednesday night's game, tonight's ball game. Interesting. I was curious the way things turned out today's. Our AT&T pitching matchup features 2 9-game winners. But if you're looking in game 1, I would think to be certain that you don't use your bullpen as much, right?
Would you go with your ace? Is that
Right.
kind of what you're leaning towards?
Yeah,
I guess a couple different ways to look at it. You know, in the case of the Braves, Julio Teheran has really struggled here in Atlanta at SunTrust Park. He has just not pitched well in this ballpark. It hasn't been a great year for him overall, but it's been worse in his ballpark.
Foul by Gomez.
You know, the other thing is too, if there's something day-night game, you know, if there's something about that. For me, if I'm Brian Snitker, I mean, you make the decision, you make the call, but I wouldn't mind getting some input maybe. And Julio Teheran is still a young pitcher, but he's been around for a little while. I get a little bit of an idea if he'd rather pitch the day or the night game. But as I mentioned too, with Gohara, all anxious to pitch last night, right? All of that anxiety leading up to your MLB debut. When it ends up getting rained out, maybe you want to put him in a, not that it's a lower leverage situation, but there's just not nearly as much atmosphere. You're pitching a makeup day game and a night game, so maybe that would be the way they'd want him to make his debut.
Gomez strikes out for the 3rd time this afternoon. Frustrations building for him. And Whistler's retired the first 2 men he has faced here in the 5th inning. Here comes Joey Gallo. Yeah, I think that argument probably resonates the best, right, with the rookie making his big league debut, 21 years old. This, you know, still a big league ball game in a big league park, but it doesn't quite feel the same. Probably feels a lot more like what he's used to in the minor leagues. It's a makeup game from last night's rainout, and very short notice for everybody, for the fans and for the ball club. So we don't have a big crowd today. 1-1 to Joey Gallo. Gallo walked his last time up and scored part of that 4-run 4th inning. We're talking about the Rangers now having the most home runs in Major League Baseball. And Gallo, raise your hand if you thought he was going to hit 40 this year. He's at 37 home runs. 3rd most in the league, and hits his ball hard out to left field. It's carrying back toward the wall. Bounces off the base of the fence, and Gallo will have a 2-out double.
That's an impressive at bat for Joey Gallo. Whenever we see him driving the ball the other way, now it's the 2nd time that we've seen him do it for extra bases in this series. He had a triple to right field. But look at this pitch, 93 miles an hour with movement just off the plate. Joey Gallo, with all the power that he has, a lot of times you'd assume that he'd want to pull that ball and try to hit it out of the ballpark. Not that he can't hit it out to the ballpark and left, he could. That's a much more mature approach than what Ranger fans saw a year ago when they first got that first look at Joey Gallo really over the last couple of years. That's the growth that we have seen in him in his first full season.
You thought about it there when that one bounced away from Freitas. Gallo stays put.
Mentioned the Rangers. With the home runs, the Orioles slipped in there last night. They're leading by 1 right now. 216 home runs for the Orioles. 215, right? Oh, we got 2 today, right? So we're back on top. Dave?
And we're tied.
We're tied. We got 1 today, Dave. Pay attention. The Braves have 2. Tied. 216 apiece. I'm all over it. And cut. Let's do that again. Let's do that again.
Yeah. Take 2.
Need another take.
These day games, they sneak up on a fella.
Well, the stats pass. They don't update as you go. So I'm gonna go ahead and
Okay.
shift some blame
There you go.
to the great people at Stats Pass who do tremendous work.
Yeah, bus coming through.
I knew that they didn't.
That ball lifted and sent deep to left field, and it is gone. And now the Rangers have the lead all to themselves. 29th home run of the year for Napoli. It's a 4-run Rangers lead.
I don't want to say that I knew that the Rangers were going to have 2 home runs today, but I think I just said it about 30 seconds ago. But Mike Napoli continues to do what he does, and it's 65 RBIs as well for Mike Napoli. Look at this pitch. That pitch is off the plate. A slider at 80 miles an hour, but Mike Napoli is able to catch it out front and put that vintage Mike Napoli swing on that pitch. It's, you know, the game within the game that we've talked about this a little bit between Rougned Odor and Mike Napoli. They both came in tied with 28 home runs. Odor had led with 1 more RBI, while Napoli now takes the home run and RBI lead among those 2. A little fun back and forth as Mike Napoli gets a big hug from Justin Mayshore, the assistant hitting coach.
Well, here is Odor, chance to get himself back in that game. 8-4. Rangers with the lead. They won the opener 8-2 here Monday night. Back and forth for the first couple of innings. These teams exchanging runs, and now the Rangers have kind of busted this thing loose. This ball well hit center field. Inciarte goes back, and it's over his head. He just misread that one off the bat. Odor goes to second with a 2-out double.
Rougned Odor crushed this baseball to dead center field. Inciarte is a really good defensive center fielder, but you're right, this ball was hit so hard, he even caught him by surprise, because you're going to see him slow down a little bit like he's got a beat on it, and then he realized he did not, and he just ended up missing that baseball, and that's because Rougned Odor hit it as hard as he did. So Matt Whistler, after getting 2 quick outs, a ground out and a strikeout, has allowed a double, a home run, and another double.
More good hard contact from the Rangers. A pretty sizable lead with Odor out there in scoring position. So the inning continues. Brett Nicholas, who smashed a double last inning, takes strike 1. Eight runs, 7 hits for the Rangers early on in this one. The Braves 4 runs on 6 hits. This ball off the handle, flared out toward right field. That one drops in, base hit. Odor got a great start, and he will score. Odor all the way from second. Nicholas drives him home. It's 9-4 Texas.
Brett Nicholas has really done a nice job today. Back in the 4th inning, he had that great at bat against Gohara for the RBI double. Now here he is with a runner in scoring position. He gets a pretty tough pitch up and in, 93-mile-an-hour fastball, and it was well located. He did just enough to get this ball down in the outfield. Like you mentioned, Odor with that good jump with 2 outs, good base running that we have seen from him all year. Scores pretty easily.
So now he is at first, and Austin Bibbins-Dirks will hit and shoots it foul. Mazzara had been in the on-deck circle, indicating maybe that ABD would be lifted, but now Bibbins-Dirks with a shot to help the cause here with his bat.
It was a nice first swing. Of course, Austin had that start against the Nationals in D.C., went 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. Now he was facing Max Scherzer. Not to take anything away from Matt Whistler. Maybe a little bit of a better chance for him to put the ball in play.
Nicholas with a small lead at first, and it went up and in. 2 balls and a strike on Bibbins-Dirks.
Of course, Austin is most focused on his pitching, but the thing as a reliever, these are the moments you wait for when you're in the American League. You're not going to get too many at bats. Certainly the last series of the year. See Austin take that hack there. He does have a couple of hits in the minor leagues. He is 5 for 50 over his 11 minor league season. Does have 1 extra base hit and a couple of RBIs.
Four runs in the 4th, 3 runs so far in the 5th inning. 2-2 to Bibbins-Dirks. Fouls it off.
You know, the other thing, obviously, still a long way to go here in this game. It's only the top of the 5th inning, but there is a win up for grabs as well in that bullpen, and that's how Austin got his first win coming out of the pen, pitching in that longer role. A base hit and a W would be a nice game 1 of this doubleheader for Austin Bibbins-Dirks.
He takes strike 3 called, and that will end the inning, but the Rangers scored 3, and it all started with 2 outs. We're halfway there this afternoon. 9-4 Rangers.
Rangers baseball is brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas.
Great start to this one. Rangers leading 9-4. Napoli with a home run a moment ago. A 2-run shot. Second Rangers home run today. Now we'll see if Austin Bibbins-Dirks can go a little bit deeper into this ball game. He pitched a scoreless 4th inning. Just took his hacks at the plate. So that frees him up for another inning, maybe 2 here in middle relief. Deals with the 3, 4, and 5 hitters. Freddie Freeman starting things off in the bottom of the 5th. And it's 1-1.
Part of the story with Austin this year has been the changing of roles. First of all, a great personal story, of course, with him getting to the big leagues. A long trek for him to make that happen, but then also the time in between his outings, right? Because he's been a reliever, he's been a starter. There have been some pretty big gaps in between the times that he has pitched. He's talked about it, I'm kind of used to it. It happens, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy. You do what you got to do to stay in the big leagues, and you try to manage it. Now, we did pitch an inning against the Angels on the 2nd, so we're talking about a few days. He had some big gaps in there, 11, 12 days at times for Austin. It's so difficult as a pitcher to try to stay sharp. In a period where he had made a start against the White Sox, didn't pitch for another 19 days. Not easy to do.
Breaking ball, that's fouled away. 2-2 the count.
never hear Austin do is complain. Think about the journey that he has been through and has worked so hard to make it happen after independent ball, all different teams in the minor leagues. He's happy to take on any role that Jeff Bannister asks him to take on.
32-year-old rookie. 2-2. And that ball belted high in the air out toward right field. Chu goes back. Looks like he may have room. And he does. And that is out number 1. Let's go down to Emily.
Yeah, you were talking about Austin Bivens-Dirks and the fact that you will never hear him complaining, and that's definitely the case. And I spoke to Austin after, he was in that starting role about, being moved to the bullpen and being in, I called it, less meaningful situations. And he was so quick to correct me that there is no such thing for anyone, and especially for him, to be on this team. Anything that he can do to contribute, as long as it took him to get here, he will relish any opportunity he gets to step on that mound. So a perfect mindset, especially for the state of this bullpen and the flux that it's been in all season long.
Yeah, and I think if I remember correctly, when you did say that, Emily, that was the same day where he did pick up a win in relief, if memory serves. I know the game was against the Chicago White Sox, so maybe he can repeat the feat. The curse of Emily Jones.
Ball 1 to Matt Kemp, who homered earlier today. Catches a corner. Kemp with that 2-run homer. It's him 17 for the year. Got that one. 1-2 the count, though. Couldn't keep it fair. Kemp getting on a little bit. 32 years old now. He had, or did, some of his best work early in the season. Now, he also spent some time on the disabled list. In fact, he's been on the DL twice this year. A little roller out to shortstop. Andrews right there to cover it up. Throws over to first. 2 away. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's check in with John Radigan. Yeah, exactly. Do it by uniform color, whatever.
That's a weird one. I mean, obviously the Rangers have no control over who actually wins or loses that game. But as a fan, you probably have different reasons, I guess, in saying, well, who's maybe has the more sustainable team, who has the better chance, right, of holding on to the wild card. Who do you like if you potentially had to match up, maybe either in a wild card game or a tiebreaker?
I think you have to root for Tampa in that one, at least today. And I say that because Tampa had 70 losses coming into play today. The Rangers at 68 losses. And we talk about this all the time. The loss column. You can't make up losses. Yeah. I mean, once you have them, you have them. You can make up wins. You can add those along the way by your own play. Just play well, and you can pick up those victories. But they need to see Minnesota.
Yep.
Drop a few.
I think you're probably right. And the thing about always the team that's in front of you as well. This is really getting fascinating. And it's fun to watch the Rangers as well make their climb. And it is a tight wild card race, and that is exactly how the commissioner wants to see it. It's good for all those markets.
2 balls and a strike on Nick Markakis. How about the fact that there's actually a wild card race now too in the National League? I think that's pretty cool. We had long written everybody off, saying it was just Arizona and Colorado, but Milwaukee snuck in there. St. Louis is only 3 out of a wild card, and those 2 are playing well. Didn't miss by much.
No, you're right. All of a sudden, the Cardinals and the Brewers are in this thing. I wouldn't say the Miami Marlins necessarily, but the Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies have those first 2 spots. The Rockies are the team, I think, from the beginning that everyone wondered about a little bit, because there's a lot of young pitching on that team. Of course, pitching in Colorado in general can be difficult. But for young pitchers, even more so. And then would they be able to hold on over the course of the year? They've already had some turnover in their rotation, trying to keep it together. But yeah, And the Cardinals are a team on paper who you would expect to be a lot better. Now they have traded Mike Leake, kind of a important piece that they had, but they felt better off trading him based on where they were, the value that they got in return, the money that they saved. Let's see who has a run in them.
Three-two pitch to Markakis, and he shoots this one up the middle. That's a base hit. So Markakis had a walk earlier, a base hit this time. Been on a couple of times this afternoon. Hey, the first 15,000 fans to the game on Saturday are going to get a Rangers on deck circle mouse pad presented by EST Group and Dell EMC. The Rangers and Yankees. It's a 12:05 game on Saturday. Get your tickets now, TexasRangers.com, or by calling 972-RANGERS. Of course, you'll be able to drag that mouse pad wherever you want, just like Adrian does it. All right, one man on here with a couple of outs, and Dansby Swanson, who is 0 for 2, steps in. Implored to swing by a fan, but he did not.
That's always a good idea. Is generally don't take advice from fans, whether you're an amateur or a professional. Even if you're 10 years old and someone's yelling at you to swing or not swing,
don't do it.
Don't listen to it. Do your thing when you're in the box.
Swanson, of course, traded to Atlanta from the Arizona Diamondbacks, and represented some of the great hopes in Arizona for the future, but they were very aggressive in the deal with Atlanta and traded Dansby Swanson. Swanson now looking from a long ways away at a Diamondbacks team that we were just talking about the wild card. Arizona won like 12 straight and 12 in a row. Diamondbacks are 81 and 58 now. They don't have a shot in the division.
Nope.
Still 11.5 back of a struggling Dodgers team. So Dodgers have lost 9 of the last 10, but they are playing well and in command of the top wild card spot.
Yeah, and if the season were to finish like that, I think it makes my case when we talk about, at least I talk about, how the playoff system works. They have 6 more wins than the Cubs, the Diamondbacks do. They would be leading that division by a lot, but they only get a wild card if it were to end the way that it ends now, and a lesser team who performs significantly less than they did gets to go into a series. That's why I like the idea of the top 3 teams going to a series. The next 2 best records go to a wild card game. We saw that with the Pirates for a couple of years, where they were winning games in the upper 90s total win totals and could only go to a wild card because either the Cubs or the Cardinals were winning that division. And then you get teams from other divisions that were winning 89, 90 games. They're sitting on 98 wins, and they have to go to a wild card.
Yeah, but I mean, with all due respect,
thank you.
Your nonsense idea there would be, why even have divisions then?
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think it matters. Because I mean, you look at how the game is played now, especially with all the rebuilding that you see. Like some divisions, you got 3 teams that are taking the year off. It happens. So exactly. So why have divisions if the new wave is to go ahead and go all the way in on a rebuild? Think about teams like San Diego Padres, or what's happening with the Reds. I mean, teams they're going to have no chance. The Braves right now, the Philadelphia Phillies. I mean, in the NL East, you had 2 teams that before the season even started, you knew they were not going to be competitive.
Swing and a miss by Swanson. He strikes out 2 in the 5th. So 2 scoreless from Austin Bibbins Dirks. Rangers up by 5. The Sonic Slam inning brought to you by Sonic Drive-In, and our jackpot today, $200 plus dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. The Rangers are hitting for Nina Horton today from Midlothian. So if a Ranger hits a home run this inning, Nina wins $200. If they hit a grand slam, Nina wins another $25,000. All right. It's all something to play for here. A little side action in the 6th inning. Top of the order coming up. I like that.
Who doesn't like a little side action at the big event? Certainly the right time to do it. Delano DeShields, we know, even though it's only 4 home runs on the year, he picks his spots. The swing will get a little bit big. We've seen him drive a couple balls deep to the track as well. There's a big swing from Delano.
He's thinking tater tots. 0-1. Delano sacrificed earlier today, 0 for 2. The sacrifice led to a run. It was a very productive small ball inning. He takes a ball, it's 1-1. Shields been very instrumental to the Rangers' success when he is in the lineup. How's that one off? 1 and 2. He has hit in 6 straight. And the average up at 285 coming into play today. But he's reached base safely, and as a leadoff man in particular, that's the number that you work on more so than the hits. But he's reached base safely in 18 straight games. A .435 on base average in that stretch. 13 walks in those 18 games. That Robinson Chirinos currently on a streak of 21 consecutive. Shields also his streak an active one at 18. A little bouncer, third base side foul.
It's been a big year for him. You know, goes back to the really good spring training that he had, and to fight for playing time. Didn't get it at the beginning of the year. Kept working, doing his stuff, making sure he was ready. I mean, think about that from the beginning of the season. When Delano Shields had that monster spring training. Braves start the season, the Rangers start the season with that 3-man platoon, but it goes to Profar, so Delano really not getting any regular playing time. There were times where he just wasn't getting on the field. It's really easy to get discouraged in that moment. You feel like you did what you had to do, even though you didn't get what you felt you deserved. Throw in the towel a little bit, maybe, not that you're not going to do your work, but you don't see your name in the lineup consistently. It's frustrating when you feel like you put yourself in a good spot. But Delano did what he had to do, and then when the opportunity came, he's been performing. I mean, you look at his overall year, and those numbers are really good numbers. Batting average, out on base percentage, he's done more than probably the Rangers were even expecting this year.
3-2 pitch, and he hits this one sharply over third. That's a base hit and out into the left field corner. DeShields with his good speed to second. He's going to turn and hold. Leadoff double in the 6th inning, and so DeShields now with a 7-game hitting streak. Pardon me.
Some quick bat speed here from Delano DeShields on a pitch that finishes in and up off the plate. Those are not easy to get to, especially trying to get the barrel to that pitch. And Delano did exactly that as he crushes that ball down the left field line. And the base running, as always with Delano, was excellent. You know that's a double off the bat. And a lot of guys you'll see hit that ball and just kind of pull up into second base and take their double. Well, Delano went hard the entire way, just looking, hunting, hoping that Matt Kemp would bobble that ball for a second so that he could take third. Now, it didn't happen, but he put himself in a position to be ready to take that extra base.
Now fly ball out to left field. That one's going to drop in. DeShields got a late start, but with his speed, it won't matter. Heading to second is Chu with the RBI double, and the Rangers in double digits. Their 8th extra base hit of the afternoon, and it's 10-4.
Chu is certainly happy to join the party after a couple of strikeouts in his first 3 at-bats, and this was another pitch that was in, but he does a great job of keeping the hands in. He did it particularly hard, but he did enough to get that ball down, get it in the outfield, and get that RBI double. You mentioned DeShields. It's a little bit tougher read for him, and then he picked up Tony Beasley. He'll let him know Tony's got a much better read on that ball, and with that speed, Delano scores easily.
Ball 1 from Whistler. drove in the first 2 runs of the game for the Rangers. A home run in the first inning, RBI single in the third. Since then, the Rangers have added 8 runs. Whistler in his second inning of work has not retired a hitter yet in this inning. This one is into left field. That's a base hit. 2's around third, but they'll hold him. Kemp was right there to take in the grounder in left.
And this ball was hit so hard that Chu had to hold up. Elvis Andrews continues to swing a very hot bat. Whistler trying to go down and away, but the ball basically ends up being center cut over the plate. Andrews, 3 hits now, rolling in the 6th inning.
So now Carlos Gomez. Carlos desperately wants to get in the fun today. There's been a lot of action for the Rangers offensively. 10 runs, 11 hits. Gomez has not yet been a part of it. He struck out his first 3 times up.
You know, Carlos Gomez never lacks aggression in what he does. When he sees those back-to-back hits like he did, it's almost like he comes in, or I should say 3 in a row now. It's like, you know, he's going to let it fly, right? He sees the other guys, the Shields double, Chu double, the Elvis hard single. He absolutely wants to be a part of that. And there's that big swing. I mean, so much so that one hand ends up coming off the bat for Carlos Gomez. I mean, he swings as hard as anybody in the big leagues, and that was a 1-0 breaking ball. Watch that top hand, or excuse me, bottom hand for him come off the bat.
2-1 to count. The Rangers 6 for 9 with runners in scoring position, or even 7 for 9. Started as 3-1. Only been 1 inning so far in which the Rangers have not scored. That was in the second. It's a full count. Let's see now. 9 hits in the last 3 innings, including this inning. This one not yet made an out. Fly ball center field. Deep enough to get a run home. Inciarte makes the catch. Tagging at third base, Chu. He'll score. And it's 11-4. So a sac fly for Gomez, and he does get in the action. And that might well be it for Whistler, as Snitker is out there to talk to home plate umpire Carlos Torres. That indicates a change. In fact, a double switch for the Braves. 11-4. Rangers by a touchdown, and we've got a pitching change in a moment.
11 hits to the Atlanta Braves 4 runs on 7 hits. And Adrian Beltre, of course, you know, is now just the 31st player in Major League Baseball to reach 3,000 hits. Well, make sure you join us Friday night as we honor Beltre for this major milestone during a special pregame ceremony. And after the ceremony, the Yankees will be in town to take on the Rangers. That game starts at 7:05. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com.
How about Beltre enjoying watching this one today? Pleased to see his team putting up some runs. After 8 runs on Monday, 11 runs here in the opening game of a doubleheader, and we're just in the 6th inning. Andrews at first, Joey Gallo at the plate, and Ian Kroll, the new pitcher.
We'll see the numbers here for the lefty. Game number 46, and that consistent theme of some high ERAs that are coming out of this Atlanta Braves bullpen. Kroll's got a fastball that sits around 90, slider, curveball, and changeup.
A double switch, so Camargo has come on to play shortstop for Dansby Swanson. Johan Camargo just activated yesterday before the rainout.
Never seen glasses on a hat like that before. That's new. Not quite flip downs from there.
Not quite.
They're there. I mean, I see the plus and the minus. The minus, it looks a little silly. But the plus, which I like, is you can still see the logo on the hat. It's one of the minuses for me when guys have that. When they have their glasses up on their hat, you cannot see the logo. You can be proud of that logo. So I'm going to take that as an overall win for Camargo. I like it.
Call that a draw. 2-1. And this one popped up over to the left side and into the seats.
This has been amazing to watch with Joey Gallo this season, slugging the way that he is. 70% of his 81 hits. They've gone for extra bases. That is the highest percentage in the entire game.
2-2, and that one fouled away.
Take a look at this pitch from Ian Kroll, the lefty. Slider looked like. Kroll has struggled against lefties this year. It's been part of the issue where he's come into this game with lefties hitting .301 against him. He's allowed 3 home runs as well to lefties.
26-year-old left-hander, recently back from the disabled list, and he gets Gallo to swing and miss for out number 2. So here comes Mike Napoli, and before he does anything, we check in again with Emily.
Yeah, Mike Napoli, the subject of our State Farm winning combination this afternoon. He got back in the home run side of things today with his 28th of the year, and combining that patience with power. So he hit the home run today. He's got 28 on the season, and then also he's had 10 walks in his last 6 games. So even if the power's not there, Knapp's still trying to be patient at the plate, get on, and give his team a chance, guys.
Well, a high fly ball out into left field. Kemp backpedaling into that one and makes the play. The inning is done. Rangers add a couple more, though, and we go to the bottom of the 6th inning with a 7-run lead. invite you to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Night with your Texas Rangers, presented by El Rancho Supermercado. Rangers taking on the New York Yankees. Friday, 7:05 game. Come on out to the ballpark early. Going to be a lot going on. Live music out on the concourse, etc. Get your tickets now. TexasRangers.com for Hispanic Heritage Night. Austin Bibbins-Dirks out for a third inning. And he gets Ruiz to foul off strike one. Ruiz, Freitas, and then Johan Camargo, who had just come in on the double switch at shortstop. He will be batting third.
And Austin certainly has this in him. Now it's 2 innings of work so far for him. The last time he did that was back on August 4th. But because he has started, he does have 6 starts this year. Jeff Bannister certainly feels pretty good about his ability to go deep.
1-1 to Ruiz, who is grounded out and flied out this afternoon.
35 pitches so far for Austin are his highest since he did make his last start. The last start came on July 29th against the Baltimore Orioles when he threw 5 innings. So it's been about 5.5, 6 weeks since Austin has been in the rotation.
We've talked a lot this summer about the value of Alex Claudio and of Austin Bibbins-Dirks, the roles that they have had to fill out of the bullpen in the starting rotation. Both of them have done both. And especially given the early season struggles, really the first half of the season, the struggles for the bullpen, what those two were able to provide, pretty spectacular. Swing and a miss by Ruiz, and he strikes out to start the 6th.
You're absolutely right. Let's take a look at this strikeout from Austin Bibbins-Dirks. There's that slider down and in, that back foot slider from a righty to a lefty, perfectly located in a 2-strike count. Ruiz cannot get to it. No, but you're right. He's brought a ton of value. We go back to that Washington Nationals series. You and I have talked about it a lot, but it was such a big game. You see now with the Rangers down to the wire here how important every victory really is, trying to win a wild card spot. Went head-to-head with Max Scherzer and beat him, but also provided a couple of other really good starts, giving the Rangers a chance to win.
Big start at Yankee Stadium. He went over New York. Freitas 1 for 2. He takes a ball. That'll even the count 1-1 here in the 6th inning. The Braves got a couple of runs in the first. They got 2 more in the 3rd inning, and there were a couple of different occasions in the early moments of this game where Atlanta had fought back to take leads. That bullpen could not hold it. Now an 11-4 ball game. Expect a late arriving crowd here in Atlanta for this opening game of the doubleheader. Could be here almost any minute. This ball lined into left field. That's a base hit. And Freitas with his 2nd base hit of the day. 2nd single.
Take a look at this swing from Freitas. First the pitch from Austin Bibbins-Dirks. Dropped that arm angle a little bit, was trying to go away, and that pitch came back over the plate a little bit. Good movement on it, but what Austin was trying to do was throw that pitch back door, looking for a called strike on the 2-seam fastball. Came back over the middle a little bit. Tough pitch, especially when you come down the arm angle like he did there, dropping it a little bit. Try to go all the way to the other side of the plate with movement. It's a pitch that Greg Maddux here with the Atlanta Braves made pretty famous. Backdoor 2-seam fastball, but of course Maddux with his Hall of Fame level command. It was unbelievable to watch him work, but then more and more pitchers, much like the Mariano Rivera cutter that he really put on the map. It wasn't the first to throw one, but he really put the great cutter on the map. That was the same thing with the 2-seam fastball, the backdoor 2-seam fastball for right-handed pitchers to use inside the lefties or away to righties. Greg Maddux, I think, really probably the guy to put that on the map. He did it with his changeup as well. So good at just disguising that pitch as a ball. nearly the entire way. Just come back and catch the corner first try.
Ground ball right side, and that one is through. Base hit for Camargo in his first at bat. Braves have a couple of base runners in the 6th inning.
That was a good pitch from Austin. This was a changeup. Righty on lefty, and it was well located down, and he got the weak ground ball that he wanted off the end of the bat, but just hit in the right spot. Theodore pinching a little bit with the runner on first. Camargo was able to sneak in a base hit.
So the lineup turns over again to Inciarte, and there are 2 men on here. Only 1 out. Inciarte has a home run and a base hit. See a ground ball right here for Bivens Dirks. Get him out of the inning. Get this thing to the 7th. Get him 3 clean ones. And relief today for Miguel Gonzalez, who went 3 innings, allowed 4 runs on 4 hits. Gonzalez walked 2, struck out 2. Nick Gardewine getting loose out of the Rangers pen in case needed. Boy, nice to have this big lead in this spot. Rangers knew they're going to have to use some of the bullpen. But Jeff Bannister with some flexibility as to who he can use and for how long. With another game looming later on tonight, we'll have a Central Time 6:35 first pitch for game 2.
And Gardewine threw 15 pitches on Monday. Obviously, everybody had the full day off yesterday. He did a nice job and has done a nice job so far here in limited action. It's a nice, clean kind of night for the Rangers on Monday. Gardewine through the 7th, and Nick Martinez through the 8th and the 9th.
They're waiting down at the count 0-2. That is ball 1.
Austin tried that same pitch that he struck out the lefty Ruiz onto Inciarte there. The slider down and in, but way ahead in the count 0-2. He buries that thing, so he's got an option here if he wants to try to go run something away in the opposite direction, maybe the two-seam fastball or the changeup. Amazing how well you can hear Brett Nicholas right there.
1-2 pitch. Off the plate.
Fastball there. Now what he's saying in starting over, meaning they want to be sure that everyone's on the same page with the runner on second base. So instead of it just being a shake, the way that those signs work, of course, is that you have one set of signs, and if the pitcher shakes, then you go to something else. And so he said, you know, just to be clear, we're completely starting over. We're not going from the shake, and the last thing you want is any confusion back there when you're the catcher.
2-2. Bouncer up the middle, backhand stop, and Bivens Dirks will take the out at first.
What a play here. It was almost an incredible play that we would have been watching on highlights for quite a while, because Austin Bivens Dirks almost caught this ball cleanly behind his back. Watch this here. Just kind of stuck the glove there, had it, but the ball popped out, and he wanted to try to get an extra out, but Brett Nicholas does a nice job of directing his pitcher, and that's the job of the catcher in that spot, is to make sure your pitcher doesn't panic and try to do too much. Direct him, let him know what to do, and so we said just get the one out at first base, and Austin did exactly that.
Now just a short conversation. Doug Brocail out there along with Brett Nicholas. Second and third, 2 out. Hopes are that Bivens Dirks can go ahead and get this final out needed to get to the 6th inning. It's 50 pitches into the afternoon. Ozzie Albies, though, not an easy out. Last time up, Sturks got him to tap one out right in front of the plate. And Brett Nicholas took care of business.
And always has been much better against lefties this year than righties. He's done a nice job against righties, but he has been crushing lefties. So when he is batting right-handed, 364 coming into this game, 266 against the righties. One pitch he's been really good on against right-handed pitching, though, has been the slider. I'm sure that was part of the conversation. 467 batting average against right-handed sliders this year.
Little bouncer, second base. Backhands top. Odor gonna have to hustle, and he does. And the inning is over. Braves leave 2 in scoring position, but that's 3 shutout for Austin Bibbins Dirks. For our score. I want to let you know about a really cool event coming up. Adrian and Sandra Beltre, they're inviting you to uncork for a cause. And it's happening on September 10th. Going to be at the Rosewood Mansion on Turtle Creek. The whole idea is that the proceeds are going to go to support the Hurricane Harvey relief efforts through the Rangers Baseball Foundation. That's going to be the debut of Adrian's 3,000 hit 2014 Sonoma Red Wine. There's going to be a limited amount of tickets available to join Adrian and some of his teammates for this special night. Just go to uncorkforacause.com to secure your tickets. You'll get the dinner and, of course, a complimentary bottle of wine as well. It's going to be a great event, great cause, and a chance to spend a more intimate evening with Adrian and company. And it's, again, uncorkforacause.com. Pretty cool idea. And we are set to go here in the 7th inning. An 11-4 Rangers lead, and the bottom third of the order coming up. Odor leading it off, Brett Nicholas, and then I would gather a pinch hitter. We'll find out. First pitch a little bit low for a ball. I'm sure Bibbins Dirks would love to get another at bat, maybe a chance to go out and pitch another inning.
He definitely would, but I think you're probably right. We'll see. I mean, the other part of that, like you mentioned with this game, is there's another one. So Jeff Bannister wants to throw Austin Bibbins Dirks out there if he feels like, the idea of getting another inning out of him and maybe asking the rest of the bullpen to only pick up 2, I think that'd be a pretty good spot to be in. But Austin has done an excellent job as well here through his 3.
I'm talking to Banny before the ball game today, and of course this is what you would expect. It only makes sense, but in a doubleheader spot like this, your inclination is certainly not to use more pitchers in game 1, but to take whatever pitchers you are using and try to get more from them. So even if you think you're pushing a guy a little bit, well, you've got a day off tomorrow. That's already built in. There's no way at this point that Austin Bibbins Dirks is going to participate in game 2. He's already thrown 3 innings today. So maybe you go out, maybe it's one batter you get out of it. Odor is hit by the pitch. That's how we start the 7th inning.
Ian Kroll tried to go in with a fastball here, and Odor not happy with it. Of course, you never are when you get hit by a pitch, but I doubt there was intent here. They were trying to go in. That one just got away from him a little bit. Caught that left elbow. Looked like Rougned Odor, maybe his forearm. Doesn't look fun.
No, it doesn't sound fun. Odor is okay. Or at least he's not letting us know otherwise, as he is at first base. Here is Brett Nicholas. Nicholas has had a real nice afternoon. Couple of hits, double, single. He's driven in a run on each of those occasions, 2 for 3 today. Let's push the average up over 300. Kroll's pitch. That one is in there. It's 1-1. So Nicholas, the rain out last night gave him a chance to get a start today, and he has taken advantage. It's 1-2. This is ninth start since the recall from Round Rock on July 24th. Really hitting the ball well out of the minor leagues before getting the call up, and strikes out here for the first out of the 7th inning. All right, taking a look at our progressive upcoming schedule. The Rangers have another game later on tonight, the finale in this series, and have this doubleheader today. Tomorrow, an open date. Team will travel tonight, take tomorrow off. And then the Yankees in town over the weekend. A noon game on Saturday. Note that on your schedule. Now Jimenez is going to pinch hit. So A.J. Jimenez on the September call-ups all year at AAA Round Rock. Caught 37 games for the Express.
Making his big league debut, first at bat for him.
And a ground ball shortstop, quick flip to second for one, the relay to first, double play, and it ends the inning. So a short debut in his first at bat for Jimenez. We go to the bottom of the 7th. They'll stand and stretch. 11-4 Rangers.
Ball is brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more.
Some sights from Monument Garden here at New SunTrust Park in Atlanta. Really cool area, this ballpark. And a lot of nice features to this ballpark as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Nick Gardewine has come on to pitch in the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, Nick, there's the arsenal, that forward pitch arsenal for Nick Gardewine's got a good fastball, and he uses it often. 80% of the time he is throwing that 95-mile-an-hour fastball, cutter as well at 90, the occasional changeup. So essentially from the right-hander, everything is pretty firm from Nick Gardewine.
Well, he comes in with his team on top by 7. Freddie Freeman, Matt Kemp, Nick Markakis due in this 7th inning.
Just a 4th game now in the big leagues for Nick Gardewine, looking for that first big league strikeout.
He's ahead here 0-2. Freeman's been on twice today. Walk and a base hit. Gardewine's 0-2 pitch. Up and away. 95 on the fastball there, but way out of the zone. Recalled from Frisco on September 3rd. Gardewine gets Freeman to shoot this one over to the left side, way out of play. He was also with the club earlier in August, a little less than a week. Pitched in 1 game in Anaheim.
A couple shakes there from Gardewine. He's got an idea of what he wants to do against Freddie Freeman. The changeup ends up being in the dirt, but check this out. Freddie Freeman killing right-handed fastballs, and it all over strike zone as well. I mean, the only spot it looks like you can really go get him is up and away, and of course you got to get him to chase up and away as well. But a lot of red when you look at the fastballs against right-handed pitching in the strike zone for Freddie Freeman.
Shoots this one again.
I mean,
over the left side.
636 on fastballs down the middle. That's pretty good. Stay away from that pitch. Such a good hitter, uses the field so well. You know, we had that conversation with Nomar Mazara all the time, left-hander with the Texas Rangers, his ability to drive the ball to all fields. This guy maybe does it as good as any left-handed hitter in baseball.
2-2, and this ball hit hard down that right field line and into the corner. Chu will take it off the chain link fence. And Freddie Freeman has reached 3 times today, his 2nd hit of the night. Or afternoon, as it were.
Well, you got yourself into that 2-2 count, and for Gardewine, you do not want to fall into the 3-2 count. So this fastball ends up being down middle, maybe down in a little bit. You certainly want to go right at Freddie Freeman, but I mentioned he is such a good fastball hitter. It's tough to get one by him, certainly to get a swing and a miss, but also just to keep him from hitting those hard line drives, which he does so well.
So Freeman out there at 2nd base, and here is Matt Kemp. Kemp homered in the 1st inning. And bounces this one 3rd base. Gallo will look the runner back, throw to 1st, and now here comes Freeman, and he will advance. Freeman didn't fully commit to going back to 2nd base. So now he's 90 feet away. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Let's send it back to John Radigan. Oh, yeah, thanks, John. Minnesota stubbed their toe the last couple of days. Lost 3 in a row. They've gone 5-5 in the last 10 games, but trying to bounce back with a victory today. They're one of those tough ones ahead of the Rangers in this wild card division, and the Rangers do not get another chance against them. So a man at 3rd, 1 out here, and Nick Markakis takes the ball. Infield back, they will concede the runner at 3rd base. 2-0. Marquez with a base hit his last time up. He walked in the first inning. 1 for 2. Bouncer, third base. Gallo behind the bag. Long throw in time, and they get Marquez. Nicely done by Joey Gallo. Marquez will pick up the RBI on the ground out, though. It's 11-5.
This is amazing. Joey Gallo has done a really nice job at third base, but this is not that easy, and this is where the plus arm of Joey Gallo really helps out. Inciarte does a nice job of getting down the line, but Joey has to field this ball. He gets a nice hop, that helps, but he's got to be able to field it and throw it quickly, and it's got to be a strong throw, and that's not an easy thing to do on the run, and he just barely gets Inciarte by less than a step.
Well, that guy knows a little something about those kinds of plays. Well, Matt Adams pinch hitting here for Ian Kroll. Adams hit his 20th home run of the year on Monday night. One and one the count. They have gotten good production out of their pinch hitters this season, Atlanta. 9 home runs, 44 RBIs in the pinch. Do a lot more of that in the National League, but still, those are some hefty numbers. Good fastball makes it 1-2.
No, you're right, and there they are right there. You kind of see it in print, but the Braves have stepped up in this spot. Not an easy thing to do. The 9 home runs, 44 RBIs, and some things that they would like to see going better here in Atlanta, but that's not one of them. They've been very good in those spots.
Adams, in fact, he's contributed in a big way to those numbers. He has 10 of those pinch RBIs, 2 of those 9 home runs. He's 11 for 42 as a pinch hitter. Just as a point of comparison, the Rangers have 5 pinch hits as a team. Swing and a miss, and there is Gardewine's first strikeout in his big league career. It's enough to send Adams back to the dugout. We go to the 8th. All right, time for the four-game summary today. You're going to like this one. 11 runs, 11 hits. 9 different Rangers have scored, and of their 11 hits, 8 of them have gone for extra bases. You can't ask for a whole lot more than that.
No, you definitely cannot. The Rangers have come out and really slugged so far in this game, and it's been a good start to this doubleheader, and certainly something that the Rangers want to see for the rest of today. Through 7, they have dominated, and really go back to the first game against the Atlanta Braves as well. Texas Rangers continue to get it done in interleague play.
All right, Dan Winkler has come on to pitch for Atlanta.
Taking a look here at Dan Winkler. You see just his 6th game overall in the big leagues this year, but he's done very well for himself. He's got a good fastball, 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Also will throw a cutter, slider, and a changeup.
Braves making a host of moves as we go to the 8th inning. It's a 6-run game. Winkler is the 4th pitcher of the afternoon. This is game 1 of a doubleheader. His first pitch to DeShields, up and away for a ball. Top of the order here, DeShields, Chu, and Andrews. Ooh. Operator error. That one. That was not the intent. 2-0. Delano had the double in the 6th inning, scored a run. Had a sacrifice earlier in this one, a sacrifice bunt in the 3rd inning. That was his 13th of the year, most in the American League. He was ahead 3-0. More success again for this Rangers team with DeShields in that leadoff spot, and that has been a real clear theme this year. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but the 7-game hitting streak now for him. He has reached some form or another in 19 straight now, and he takes ball 4. All right, well, amidst some changes, Jace Peterson has come on to play left field in this 8th inning. Lane Adams, the new right fielder. Not the only Adams. All of them are in. Matt Adams stayed the game. He is at first. So good speed over at first base now with DeShields over there. And Shin-Soo Choo, he doubled in the 6th inning. Trying to hold up, but he could not. Chu 1 for 4.
You see Delano DeShields not being held on by Matt Adams right now. Has every bit to do with the score and how late we are in this game.
Fly ball over to the left side out of play. 0-2 on Chu. Toward the end of this one, the Rangers leading by 6, and then we'll have some time between ball games. The 2nd game of the doubleheader scheduled to start at 6:35 Central Time. Soft liner shortstop, and Camargo is there, 1 away. And our TXU Energy Power Player to watch. Elvis Andrews and the Texas Rangers just crushing the long ball. 13 homers in the last 5 games. That's pretty good.
Yeah, they are showing off the power. Listen, they have been all year, but especially here now over these last 5. I mean, the multi-home run games.
This ball hit well out towards center field. Inciarte was shallow, and that one is over his head and up against the fence. DeShields will be waved. He'll score all the way from first. It's an RBI double for Elvis Andrews, and it's a dozen this afternoon for the Rangers.
What a day this has turned into for Elvis Andrews. Now his 4th hit and 3rd RBI, 38th double of the season. But look at Elvis taking a fastball up and away, and I mentioned it earlier, keeping the ball in the middle of the ballpark. He got a fastball up and away at 97, hit it out of the ballpark in the 1st inning. Another one up and away, hit that ground ball up the middle, and now another fastball, and he drills to right center field. So Elvis Andrews, right now his swing is in the right spot, and he has been locked in.
Carlos Gomez takes a strike. Carlos had a sac fly his last time up. 0 for 3 though today. Rangers have failed to score in just 2 innings. goose egg in the second. They put up a goose egg in the seventh. If they can hold on to win this one, it would give them a chance to sweep the doubleheader in the series later tonight behind Cole Hamels. That's a position they would like to find themselves in. Pretty decent confidence with Hamels going out to the mound, that's for certain. Things working out for Jeff Bannister and his club on this very short road trip, a trip that has him in Atlanta and then right back home for this weekend against the Yankees. There's a swing and a miss, and Gomez has struck out for the 4th time today. Get Joey Gallo to the plate. Gallo with a double today. It's the average now at 213. And he smashes this ball out to right field. Back goes Lane Adams, and he'll run under it. Inning is done. Rangers will have to settle for the run. They leave a man. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning this afternoon. 12-5 Texas.
Runs for them as they lead the Atlanta Braves by a score of 12-5. It is the bottom of the 8th. We'll head out to Globe Park this upcoming weekend for Adrian Beltre weekend. You can get a commemorative Beltre 3K hat using the special theme night link at texasrangers.com/Beltre3K. Make sure you get your tickets for Beltre weekend. There's Adrian Beltre. The disabled list right now as he is dealing with that grade 2 hamstring strain. He'll be out for 4 weeks, which pretty much puts you right to the end of the season. Well, Jason Grilli now going to be on here for the Texas Rangers. There's the Ford pitch arsenal for Grilli. Fastball, slider, and that occasional changeup, but 97% of the time it has been a fastball or a slider for Jason Grilli.
So double switch. Jared Hoying comes on in right field as part of that double switch. Bottom of the 8th, a 7-run game, and the bottom third of the order coming for Atlanta. Rio Ruiz, who is 0 for 3 today, is grounded out, flied out, struck out. And Grilli's first pitch just off the outside corner. Braves are 16 games under 500, 60 wins and 76 losses. in itself, not a huge surprise. I mean, I think most people felt like this was a team that was going to be in a bit of a rebuild mode and would ultimately trade off some of the veteran players that they had on their roster and try and get younger, try and accumulate more talent. Way inside, but there was a stretch where people around baseball were like, well, hang on a second, this team might not be so bad. They were 45-45 in mid-July. 500 team and hanging in there, but since that point it has been an awful slide for this team. They've gone 15-31 since July 17th. That is the worst record in the National League, winning less than a third of their games. And that's tough. Full count now on Ruiz.
Well, it has been, and it's one of those things. They knew, of course, that they probably were not going to contend. One of the things that they had done, and we talked about this a little bit on Monday night, and they still signed guys like R.A. Dickey and Bartolo Colon. They liked having veterans around, even though contention probably was not going to be a reality for 2017. Now, part of that, I think, is because you have the new stadium. You don't want all young players in with the new stadium, which you're going to get really good crowds, that first bump for SunTrust Park. But the other part of that, too, is that, you know, for teams that do go on the full rebuild, there's definitely value to that. The flip side of that is there is something to be said for having some veteran players around while you're going through that process to make sure that guys are not comfortable losing. That's always one of my concerns when I watch teams that go completely in, completely empty out. There's the Philadelphia Phillies as an example. What you don't want them to do is get too comfortable losing. And there are not very many veterans in this game who enjoy losing. They're not going to be happy doing it. So there's some value to be had for bringing in those veteran players when you're going through the kind of streaks that they're going through right now.
Full count on Ruiz and Grilly's pitch. There's a swing and a bouncer second base. So Odor shuffles over, throws it to first, one away. Grilly gets the first man he faces. This one started today with Miguel Gonzalez going 3 innings, allowed 4 runs on 4 hits. Then Austin Bibbins-Dirks, a real big 3 shutout innings for him. And that really changed the course of this game. He settled things down. The offense kind of got on a run there in the middle innings, tacked on some really big runs. David Freitas, couple of base hits his last 2 times up, 2 for 3.
Have you decided where you're taking me to lunch yet in between games?
Working on a couple little plans. I'm waiting to see how long this, the game lasts. Because I want to take you to a nice place, get you something really good to eat.
Thank you.
But I need to see you put in the effort for game 2. I want you up here doing a little extra work beforehand and grinding away on the next broadcast.
So you don't want me to overeat?
For sure.
Because it might slow me down a little bit.
There's that, and I want you to be able to spend as much time as possible working on your scorecard and whatnot for game 2.
It's true, good point. But I think we're going to have plenty of time. Pretty decent pace to this game. I mean, for 17 runs.
We'll see. There's a Chick-fil-A around the corner, and if things go right,
give me a small waffle fry.
Get you a small waffle fry. That's right.
Along those lines, I challenge you to find a greater condiment than Chick-fil-A sauce. One does not exist. I see your brain working over there. Don't even bother. I'm kind of interested in checking out the battery, though. The cool thing they have out here in right field. At SunTrust Park, very similar to some degree, I think, what fans can expect to see at Texas Live. Construction is underway. Pretty exciting time right now around Arlington.
You see the chop house and the silver bullet over there on the right of your screen. Just beyond that, out there, is the battery. And all the renderings we've seen for Texas Live, and the new ballpark coming to Arlington in a couple of years. You walk out on the Battery and you see this thing put together, and it looks so similar to the renderings. You're like, oh, this is what it's going to look and feel like, and it is really, really cool.
It's not about just coming and watching the game anymore. There's full entertainment available at all these new ballparks, also hotels, apartments, everything that's going on around here. Very cool.
Foul ball competition going here with David Freitas, and the count stays 2-2.
That was one of the knocks on the old ballpark at Turner Field, is that the infrastructure around the ballpark didn't necessarily encourage fans to come early or stay late. And so the Braves decided they were going to build a new ballpark that actually came out to the suburbs here and did a little bit more space. You see that Omni Hotel is in right center field, not open yet. That's going to be pretty cool though as well. I guess the question becomes whether or not teams will stay there. I mean, it's convenient without a doubt. You have everything you need as far as restaurants and proximity to the ballpark. There's a lot of great places to stay though around here in Atlanta. Of course, that's a setup in San Diego, right? Is that an Omni in San Diego?
It is, yeah, with a little walkway right across to the ballpark.
You literally don't ever have to step foot on the street. You go straight from the team hotel right into the ballpark, which is kind of a neat feature.
Swing and a miss, and Grilli strikes out Freitas. 2 away here in the 8th.
Well, 2 quick outs here for Jason Grilli, and after, I should say quick, a longer at bat to Freitas does a nice job with that slider away. 9-pitch at bat for Jason Grilli. Did you have it at 9? Yeah.
Sure.
All said and done. What was really equally as impressive, a 9-pitch at bat, only had 2 balls. 7 strikes in a row. The deuce.
Backdoor breaking ball to Camargo, who singled in the 6th inning, his first at bat of the day. Came in the 6th defensively and has stayed in the game at shortstop. Oh, and 2.
So this is one of the good young infielders that they have here with the Atlanta Braves, and still trying to figure things out. Camargo just came off the DL. All these we've talked about. Swanson, Ruiz has been at 3rd, but some talk that Camargo could be the 3rd baseman potentially of the future. The one thing that's missing in his game that you're looking for is exactly what Joey Gallo brings to the table at 3rd base, which is some power. Not that they want Joey Gallo type power, that's getting greedy, but they would like to see maybe a little bit more power out of Camargo to see if that makes sense. They're in a good spot. 4 good young infielders for 3 spots between 2nd, 3rd, and short.
Two away, nobody on base, and this one lined over 3rd. That's a fair ball base hit for Camargo. He'll scamper to 2nd base, and he's in there with a 2-out double. So he is 2 for 2 today.
Well, you can see why they like him. The approach here, it's a good pitch away, up a little bit, but definitely on the outside part of the plate from Jason Grilli, and you don't see young hitters too often take that mature of approach where he lines that ball the other way. It's a quality at bat.
So that'll get Inciarte back to the plate. First pitch swinging. He lines that one into left field. Camargo will come around and score easily. Inciarte with the RBI single. And he makes it a 12-6 ball game.
Those back-to-back pretty good at-bats here from the Atlanta Braves. Inciarte looking for something out over the plate early. He gets it. This ball pretty hard to left field as well. And you see how he chokes up on the bat a little bit. Good quick bat speed for Inciarte as Camargo just trots home.
So man at first with 2 gone. Albies, 1 for 4. Had the triple earlier, takes one high for a ball. Another one of the great young players that Atlanta features. Really spins another one up there, but off the plate. Albies just 20 years old.
That's amazing. In fact, that means he's got 5 triples. And just 130 plate appearances coming into today, so this will be his 5th now. But 5 triples in 134 plate appearances. I mean, you put that out over the course of the season. A dozen of 15 triples. It's a big number.
Shoots this one over to the left side out of play. 2-2. Got our paid attendance figure.
21,000.
19,971. Don't know what the in-park attendance will end up being. The payoff pitch, rather the 2-2, who always makes it full. But I do know we're shy of the 19 paid.
It's probably a good guess. Yeah. I like my 2,000 number, though. I think it's pretty close.
Well, a lot of breaking balls from Grilly. Always keeps the at-bat going. I went to the clubhouse, I guess, Monday afternoon, and I was looking around. I asked Grilly, I said, yeah, what do you think so far? He said, this is my 2nd time in. Yeah, he came. Toronto had come in earlier this year, so he had already played at this ballpark as he gets a swing and a miss from Albies for a strike 3. Of course, he's a former Atlanta Brave, although never played here in a Braves uniform. It's a 12-6 game as we go to the 9th. And Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Snowball Express and their commitment to providing hope and new happy memories to the children of our fallen heroes while on active duty since 9/11. By bringing children together from all over the world, Snowball Express provides an annual life-changing event to make each child feel special as we remember the lives of their parents. We remember. Visit foxsportsupports.com to learn how you can help. Okay, Napoli will lead things off here in the 9th inning against Dan Winkler, who stays in the game. Winkler, the 4th pitcher of the day for Atlanta. Ball game that got away from Atlanta a little bit in the 4th and 5th innings. Rangers put up 4 runs in the 4th, 3 runs in the 5th. tacked on some extra runs since then. In fact, with a 2-run homer in the 5th. He's also walked twice today. It's 2-0. So later on tonight, Cole Hamels, Julio Teheran. Goes 3-0, and now some activity out of the Rangers bullpen. Tyson Ross preparing out there. Perhaps we would see him at the bottom of the 9th inning.
It's actually an interesting decision there. Cole Hamels, of course, starting tonight, and you expect him to get deep in the game. You were talking about having multiple long men. Well, for sure, Austin Bivens-Dirks will be down in the 2nd game, and probably down tomorrow as well after throwing 3 innings. But Gardaway and Grilli should be fine. They each threw an inning apiece. But if for some reason Cole Hamels were to get in trouble early, or potentially a pinch hit situation comes up, you still have Nick Martinez as a long man. AJ Griffin, of course, is available today. So Jeff Bannister is okay with potentially using Tyson Ross here in the 9th, one of the many starters that's down in that bullpen. So that's the September advantage in this doubleheader working.
High pop-up out into shallow center field. Camargo going out from shortstop. He apparently wants it, but he gives way to Inciarte at the last second. And there is 1 out. Well, of course, we talked about it earlier. The fact that we did not play last night and had a doubleheader today forced a couple of different issues for Jeff Bannister. One is he lost his start for Robinson Chirinos, who would have started last night's game, would have started tonight's game under normal circumstances. That said, Brett Nicholas performed beautifully today. Put some pressure on that bullpen ostensibly with 2 games today. Now, nobody threw yesterday. Nobody has to throw tomorrow on the off day, so that's good news. But because you lose that day of rest for Miguel Gonzalez, who would have started last night's game, it forces Banny to use a different starter on Sunday, which he would not have otherwise had to have used. He could have stayed in, for simplicity purposes, a 4-man rotation. And he did say, top candidates are Nick Martinez and AJ Griffin at the moment, but if needed, one of them may have to throw. And if one of them were used of any significant length in one of these games today, that would affect their ability to be the starter on Sunday.
You actually see AJ in the dugout for this game, so I assume he's not available in the bullpen. I would guess.
Well, we were told before the game that he was.
Yeah, it's interesting these areas. It's not like that's one of those bullpens that you have access to. It's think about the Cubs or the Giants. There are certain bullpens that you can sit in the dugout. I would guess probably emergency only situation, even though he is available, is probably how it's being treated. But again, because you have Nick Martinez, because you have Tyson Ross, plenty of arms down there in the bullpen. Tyson Ross has got some bullpen experience under his belt. We'll assume that he's going to come in here for the 9th inning, but it's been a while. He hasn't pitched out of the bullpen since 2013 with the Padres, his first year with San Diego. He had most of his bullpen experience with the Oakland A's back in 2010 when he pitched in 24 ball games out of the bullpen his rookie season.
3-2 to Odor, and he strikes out swinging. 2 gone here in the 9th inning. So Winkler battles back. He got Napoli, gets Odor. Came in last inning, allowed a run on the RBI double by Andrews. And now we'll confront Brett Nicholas, who's had a good day at the plate. And a good day behind the plate. First pitch swinging. Lines this one out to left field, but tracked down out there by Peterson for the final out of the inning. It's a 1-2-3 top of the 9th. All right, last of the 9th coming. Rangers lead by 6. the score as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. A big day offensively for the Rangers. Got some good pitching as well out of the bullpen, and now it's going to be up to Tyson Ross.
Tyson Ross getting his first opportunity here. We'll see him out of the bullpen and take a look at his arsenal. Still a good fastball for Tyson Ross, sitting at 93 miles an hour. It's that slider, though, that really has been that pitch for him over the course of his career, which has been really, really good. He, of course, is coming off that thoracic outlet syndrome. Suffered that his first start, an injury last year.
Ground ball first base. And Jace Peterson.
You've seen it at times, and you had to kind of expect, I think, to some degree for Tyson Ross, that would be a little bit up and down this year when you come back from an injury. That's always kind of part of the expectations for him. There were definitely some games where you could see the upside when he was feeling good, when the command was good, when the slider was coming out of his hand very cleanly. See kind of some shades of the old Tyson Ross. And so often with injured guys, it's the year following their first year back when they usually put together the really strong and consistent season.
Well, nothing like getting a ground out on the first pitch. Start things off. So we got Peterson, now Lane Adams. 1-1 the count. Rangers trying to get to 2 games over 500. And that is a place they have not been for what feels like quite some time. Swing and a miss. That's strike 3. There are 2 away. Last time the Rangers were 2 games over 500. May 23rd.
It's been a conversation all year long, right, with the Rangers kind of hanging around 500, unable to really separate themselves from that record. Well, now is the time, obviously, as the clock is ticking and they're trailing in this wild card race. Getting above and going on a nice run here the rest of the season is pretty critical for the Rangers if they want to get to the postseason.
Oh, Adonis Garcia pinch hitting now for Winkler. 2 out, nobody on. Last of the 9th inning, and Ross runs 1 in. It's 2-0. Good tempo for Tyson, and a bouncer off of Garcia's foot. It's 2-1. I don't know that the Rangers planned on getting just 3 innings out of Miguel Gonzalez today, but outside of that, it's pretty much been according to plan today.
No, it has been, and I think, you know, we talked about the depth of the bullpen, and it allows you to almost look at it a little bit differently. Sure, you know, Miguel Gonzalez is capable of going deep in games. I mentioned in the pregame on that 5-game streak that he had been on, throwing the ball really well. He had gone 8 innings in 2 of those starts, so that is a possibility. But the other way you can look at it with this deep bullpen is you compare him with a guy like Austin Bibens-Dirks. You compare a starter, think, okay, can I get 6 innings out of, you know, Miguel Gonzalez and Austin, Miguel Gonzalez and Nick Martinez? You can kind of continue to do that. Now Cole Hamels going tonight, you'd like to think that you can get, you know, 6, 7, 8 out of him. He's a guy that's certainly capable of going deep in games. But if it doesn't work out, you need to use a pinch hitter early. You have the arms to be able to help you get deep in the game.
Garcia rolls that one up the middle, a base hit with 2 out here in the 9th inning. So Atlanta will continue to bat. They stay alive in this one. That brings up Matt Adams. Matt Adams pinch hit in the 7th inning and then stayed in the game at first base. 1 for 1 so far this afternoon. This is the opening game of a doubleheader. A little break between games. Game 2 will start at 6:35 Central Time. Our pregame coverage to start at 6 o'clock here on Fox Sports Southwest. Adams drives that one over first base and down into that right field corner, around third base, and heading to the plate is Garcia. He'll score. It's a double for Adams and makes it a 12-7 game.
Well, number 24, Matt Adams on the season. Here is that pitch from Tyson Ross. That fastball was meant to be middle away, came back over. It was a two-seamer, finished in. Matt Adams, pretty good hitter on fastballs from the inside part of the plate. He gets an opportunity to turn on that one. An easy double and an easy RBI.
A little two-out action for the Braves. And now Ruiz, who's 0 for 4 today, represents the last chance for Atlanta. Run is in. Adams out at second base. 12-7, Rangers on top. It is 2-0. Atlanta today, they got a couple of runs in the first, a couple in the third, and then now single tallies in the 8th and 9th innings. Pardon me, 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. They've actually out-hit the Rangers, 14-12. It's 2-1. Ross got 2 quick outs of Peterson and Adams. Got a base hit. Double. To continue working here to Ruiz. This will be a 17th pitch of the inning, and Ruiz hits one sharply by Odor into right field. That's a base hit. He'll casually wave Adams to the plate. He'll score on the single by Ruiz. And 2 runs across makes it a 12-8 ball game.
Ball hit pretty hard by Ruiz. Sitting in the middle of the plate. Odor took a shot at it. Looked like he might have nicked his glove a little bit. Did slowed it down somewhat. I think for Tyson Ross too is that he hasn't pitched in 15 days.
Yeah.
Kind of tough for him to be sharp coming out of that starter's routine.
Well, Jeff Bannister has made a move with 2 outs in the 9th inning. He will call on his bullpen to finish this one off. Here comes Alex Claudio. The 9th inning, 2 outs. Braves have a man on. Alex Claudio has come on to try and finish it off.
And Jeff Bannister is going to ask Claudio just to get him 1 out. Here is the Ford pitch arsenal for Alex Claudio. The 2-seam fastball, the sinker, just averages 86 miles an hour, but it has been a very effective pitch for Alex. But the changeup, that has been the big one. Just 71 miles an hour and a 167 batting average against that pitch for Alex. Also, an identical 167 batting average against the slider as well. So the off-speed pitches have been very good for Alex Claudio this year.
Well, he needs just one out. And he pumped one in for a strike to Freitas.
Now, if it works out the way Jeff Bannister hopes that it does, this is a strong candidate of the group that has thrown so far that could potentially pitch in both ends of this doubleheader if Alex Claudio can keep his pitch count down and finish this game off.
Claudio's had a lot of rest lately for his arm. He's had a little stomach bug. We were a little surprised a couple of days ago when he did not appear in a game back at Globe Light Park as we were headed out on this road trip. And the reason was we were told before the game, yeah, he's up, he's ready. He got a little bit of a bug. Well, bouncer second base, and it didn't take him long, but he gets it done. 3 pitches, and there's your final out of the ball game. The Rangers win it 12-8, and now have a chance to sweep this series a little bit later on tonight.
The strength of the interleague play here for the Texas Rangers continues, and it happens on the road as well. They are now 7-2 in road games against National League teams, and that matters because, of course, they are built like an American League team. They lose the DH when they play these games, but it hasn't mattered. And even though the Rangers allowed 8 runs in this game, it almost didn't feel like it because the offense just put this game out of reach early. So a good first game overall here for the Rangers, and now an opportunity to take care of business in the nightcap.
Austin Bibbins-Dirks picks up his 5th win of the year. All right, John Radigan, Tom Grieve, and Mark McLemore are going to be back here shortly to talk about the Rangers rallying for this win. They fell behind twice early. Elvis with his 20th home run. A little preview of what's coming in Game 2. For CJ Nikowski, Emily Jones, and our entire crew, I'm Dave Raymond, inviting you to stay with us. Rangers Live postgame show starts right after this.